then your children are turned into mindless vassals who now they look up to some twit instead of looking up to Thomas Jefferson or looking up to Nikola Tesla or looking up to Magellan. I mean, kids, Magellan's a lot cooler than Justin Bieber. He circumnavigated with one ship the entire planet. He was killed by wild natives before they got back to Portugal. And when they got back, there was only...
But why?
22 million in 3 fucking hours!
There is no nobility in poverty. I have been a rich man and I have been a poor man, and I choose rich every fucking time. The real question is this: was all this legal? Absolutely fucking not.
Neither go towards the feeding grounds at the edge of the ice, nor return to the colony. Shortly afterwards, we saw him heading straight towards the mountains, some 70 kilometers away. Dr. Ainley explained that even if he caught him and brought him back to the colony, he would immediately head right back for the mountains. Why?
What's your dream? To go away.
To go away. That's right.
Do you guys want to drink? I don't understand why everybody has to be so judgmental. I understand why mom's judgmental. I think it's because she cares partially. I think it's also partially because everyone else is looking at her like, hey, Cody's just a bum. Cody's this, Cody's that, Cody's this. Cody's me, bro. Let me be me.
Woo! Happy Tuesday, Taco Tuesday, as LeBron James would say. We're back, baby. How are we doing? Chill. How we feeling? All right, guys.
I am muted. Oh my gosh. GM Jim. Boom. We're back with another stream today here. It's Tuesday, July 7th. We're about to rock out with another fantastic stream here this afternoon. We got a couple good projects lined up for you guys today. And you know what? I can give you guys a little bit of a preview of what the show will be like today. Yeah, so let me go ahead and pull up the schedule for you guys, and I'll give you the show breakdown right here, right now. All right, perfect. I got it up. Let me go ahead and share my screen with you guys. Bang, share screen, and then I will add it to the stage. Alrighty. So here you guys have it. Here is actually, let me see if I can do this. Yeah, perfect. Here is the schedule. So today we have Claw Pump coming on at 12:30 with the boy Caneo Capital. Looking forward to having him back. Bio LLM at 1 p.m. today. More of just an update. We see that they recently got accepted into like the IBM ecosystem or something like that. So want to explore that a little bit more and see what that means for them and their project. And then we have Lasso Finance. A lot of talk around MetaDAO. If you've seen my content, you've seen I've been kind of talking a little bit more about ownership tokens And we're going to get into some of that here today as well. So we'll talk a lot about that. Outside of that, it's going to be a great stream. So to get started, we're going to cover some breaking news, some kind of on-chain stuff, some points of conversation here before our first interview. And then, as you know, after the interviews, we'll get into some on-chain, some trading, some alpha, and we'll go from there. So let's go ahead and jump in. Let's go ahead and jump in and get started real quick. Let's just take a brief look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin basically in the same place it was yesterday. So not much change. If you watched stream yesterday or even last week, you kind of know exactly where we are. Basically told you guys that we're building up liquidity here at 60K. So I'm expecting a move into the red box here around like 67K-ish. And then I'm expecting us to sweep liquidity down at the lows here. And maybe even going as low as 50 to 55K, somewhere in that area. That's along the lines of expectation. So that's really a brief look at Bitcoin. Not gonna go in too deep on Bitcoin because I wanted to talk to you guys about something else. I wanted to talk to you guys about the Ansem coin. We've been talking about the Ansem coin a lot. Obviously, it's a big topic of discussion. There's been a lot of buzz around the Ansem token, but I noticed, if you guys remember, Luca Netz. You guys remember Luca Netz? Remember last year we had that Spaces where Luca Netz, we talked with him and things of that nature. Well, Luca Netz, he's the guy behind Pudgy Penguins. And if you don't remember, Pudgy Penguins, they airdrop 50% of their supply to token holders. And, that was worth, $1.5 billion. So obviously it kind of catapulted Pudgy Penguins into becoming, this kind of successful meme coin. Outside of just like the Doge coins, the Shibs or what have you, this now became like a staple meme coin in the space. And so basically, Luca Netz here says what Ansem is doing with his token probably reinvents how airdrops are done forever. In hindsight, it was obvious, but the idea that you have an evergreen recurring airdrop is actually the way to do it and is the highest EV way to distribute tokens. Some might say people have done this, but functionally they haven't. The core differentiator here is the idea of airdropping new users tokens every day, every week versus multi-month seasons, which jades users and stagnates momentum. If I was a new token going to launch, I would airdrop an initial amount to users, drip feed a small airdrop every day or every week to new and existing users who are completing tasks such as championing the token or using the products in the ecosystem. And, Ansem kind of followed up why airdrop a large percentage of the supply at once instead of constantly dripping it out and rewarding the most active community members. If a new protocol drops next month and Ansem holders, use that, because it'll be a net positive for everyone. They could airdrop people using that protocol. So yeah, there's a lot of like creative things that are being done. We even saw the Squire dev talked about how Ansem could be used to get to get compute, to get inference, stuff like that. So we see a lot happening around this Ansem token, and I think it just overall it highlights again, when you combine someone that has a big influence on crypto Twitter, on CT, but also they have the know-how in terms of how to maintain attention over time. I think we can see some good momentum here. But I'll say it the same way that Crypto Licks here says it. He says the guy who airdropped 1.5 billion via one of the most successful meme coins of all times is telling you that Ansem is innovational. So, take that for what it's worth. It's Luca Netz. It's Ansem creating a new way to garner and keep attention around the token. And then he's using that to not only onboard users, but then now he's also using that to kind of direct attention toward any protocol or product. So a lot of good things going on there for the Ansem token. So I wanted to make sure I cover that with you guys. I'm personally sidelined on Ansem, but I think at the same time, it's something to worth watching because while Ansem revolutionizes the space, if he does kind of carves out this path for other tokens, to successfully kind of come to the market via this airdropping strategy, then who knows? There could be other tokens that follow and copy that same strategy, right? So could be opportunity for us down the line. It's always good to pay attention to everything. Next breaking news here. The freaking bonk got hacked, or
This
not
is
hacked,
wild.
but this is a predatory DAO proposal. So here's the walkthrough, and here's what happened. Someone buys $4 million worth of bonk. Then they post a DAO proposal asking to transfer $20 million in bonk to themselves. They wait 7 days without anyone noticing, then votes yes with their own bonk holdings, and then the proposal passes. 20 million is transferred to them, and now the bonk team has suddenly realized that they lost 20 million. This wasn't even a hack. The proposal passed because no bonk holders checked the governance form. Like literally, if you guys
What are
go
we
back
doing,
to
bro?
any DAO, who does governance? Governance is a meme. We all know that. So that's insane. That's insane to see. Takeaways, Dom?
Takeaways are that bonk is clearly like it's just a ghost protocol right now. I mean, how this goes under people's nose. Now, I will say this is like I think a typical DAO activity. People are so surprised by this, but there's not a lot of DAOs that are actually active out there. I mean, shout out MetaDAO, but you look at all these DAOs, even like MetaDAO, you'll have these proposals and there will be like little to no votes on it unless it actually really, really matters and someone steps in and starts like rallying people in the community to start voting. Otherwise, many are unaware of the votes that get raised. I don't know. There's got to be a better way to coordinate attention and participation around these governance proposals, because this is crazy. I mean, it's not even a hack. Yeah, like you just said, it's a bad actor who came in, decided to play his cards. Like, you can't even be mad at the guy. It's not great. It's terrible for Bonk. It's a terrible thing he did, but like, he played his cards right. He was a whale. He bought $2 million worth of bonk. He knew no one's going to actually vote against this because no one's paying attention. And if they did, then we need to rally $2 million on the last day to come in and pay attention to this market. So touche on the guy that did it, to be honest. Touche to him. It sucks to see it happen, but if you're going to have a DAO for a protocol that's this big and has this much money in it, you should have someone monitoring it at least once a day, checking up on some of these proposals. And
it's really not that hard to monitor it once a day.
No.
It's really not that hard.
Yeah.
I don't know what the heck they were doing. Let's see here. Dang. So next thing I wanted to talk about here was lit. So we all know lighter. We talked about the lighter thesis, I believe it was last week with Rambo. We broke down the whole lighter thesis, and honestly love lighter as a project. Love it as a protocol, and I love the connection with the Robinhood CEO as well. So a lot of things there to love about lit. But notice this this tweet here from Ashwath. He says, lit shouldn't be punished because they needed VC funding at an early stage to build and scale their product. Hyperliquid's immaculate conception is not a benchmark you should hold to every project to. It's not normal for a founder team to be able to personally fund runway for growth, development, and scaling a tech product. Where I do think lit is deviating from the market's expectations is Vlad's recent comments. Current buybacks use 100% of core lighter trading fees to buy back lit. So lit does have value accrual. It's just that buybacks are discretionary, not programmatic. Programmatic buybacks, as we know, is the gold standard. Buybacks do not account for all of Lighter's products developments, which means lit is not a real ownership token relating to Lighter's total efforts, but rather a coin with pretty strong value accrual from the core exchange. Not going to act like I understand the legal implications of going from formal VC round to fully token DAO owned on-chain product, but this is also exactly why structures like MetaDAO that imbibe token first principles from day zero are crucial. The ownership coin meta is about token holders finally getting full transparency and ownership over projects' efforts in a way an equity holder has in a startup. And that, not 99% buybacks, has to be the standard token markets aspire for. So this is what I've been talking about left, right, and center. In fact, today, shortly after the stream, I'll have a talk with Dom. I might even, have a talk with you guys as well towards the end of the stream. I'm working on a bit of a write-up because I want to help push this conversation forward in terms of making the space like accept this token to equity models, ownership models as the standard for tokens. Like literally, in my opinion, we should all be going to futardio.io to launch. That's where all these tech projects and stuff like that, that's where a lot of these guys should go to launch. And I mean, it's everyone's, and I mentioned this in the thread, everyone's going to be a little different. Everyone's not going to go the ownership route. Some people might prefer Ace. Some people might prefer Bedrock or Street, depending on how much ownership over the business, how much control over the business and stuff like that they might want. But ultimately, I think ownership tokens as a market standard is a must if we want to be successful as an industry.
Yeah, Crypto Jones has an interesting comment here I want to touch on. He said, do you think Ansem will become a staple meme coin in the same league as Bonk or Fartcoin? And I would almost kind of compare them differently. You think the answer is yes?
Yes. If this trajectory holds up, we've talked about what Ansem is trying to do in terms of, what he wants to do with onboarding users plus attracting and sustaining attention over a long time. And then, using that, people don't understand, like Ansem is actually he's actually a wizard because he started, notice the narrative work that Ansem did. Remember Ansem, he started to talk about, what was that? Airdrops. He started to talk about the airdrop from Pump Fund, right? He was under every Pump Fund in comment section. He was like, Ansem airdrop. Where's the airdrop? Where's the airdrop, Pump Fund? Where's the airdrop, Elon? Etc. And he kept doing that for like 2 or 3 weeks beforehand. Then he drops Ansem token and says, you know what? I'm going to airdrop you guys myself. Let's flip Pump. And so if he's successful in flipping Pump Fund, and then he's planning on not doing a huge airdropping session, but leaking airdrops slowly out continuously over time, that creates a new type of meme coin dynamic that we haven't seen. When you do this airdrop seasons when everyone gets an airdrop at once, then people will all likely sell off. That affects the chart. But if you slowly airdrop holders over time, and over time you start to get, we saw the White Boomers video from yesterday from the boy Richard Tardio. We saw the Afro man reach out to Ansem. Like we're seeing people, and we even see Nico.fun, I believe. Yeah, the attention flywheel, man. But like people want an airdrop. That's the essentially people want an airdrop. And as long as you can sustain an airdrop over a longer period of time, your token is likely going to attract more and more attention. I mean, it's worth 60% is worth how many ever, like 60 million, 80 million, how much ever it's worth. But as Ansem token, the price goes up, the percentage of airdrops that needed to be handed out is smaller. And so now you can sustain it for a longer time, right? So, I mean, eventually, will this thing go minus, 70, 80% at some point? For sure. Every meme coin, every great meme coin does that. Fartcoin did it. Pepe did it. Everything else did it. But at the end of the day, he's attracting attention and keeping it over a long term via slow drip airdrop. And that's going to equal, or at least get him to the point where he can be listed on centralized exchanges, garner a lot of attention and just be kind of stabilizing himself. Just like he called Solana the bottom last time, he's essentially doing it again. But this time he's creating a stream around it, a bullpen perps trading product around it, and he's going to use all the attention to crystallize himself in time.
Yeah, I would actually disagree with this notion, to be honest. I do think it was a masterclass in attention and, and narrative shaping and fundamentals, in the sense that he kind of got under the Pump Fund post, started rage baiting people, started pulling out this airdrop narrative. He kind of found product market fit in that sense, that people want this airdrop, although it was pretty obvious. He found that product market fit, and they went and proved it out by doing the airdrop himself via Black Bull. I do think from a metic standpoint, yes, I agree with everything you said, Chill, but I think it kind of is, you have to look at it differently than a Bonk and Fartcoin. Maybe Bonk is closer to the representation, because I saw a really interesting post yesterday from Gilbert from the Squire dev, who mentioned, why don't we start building stuff on top of the Ansem ecosystem, right? The Black Bull is making $100,000 a day plus in Solana fees. So that's not even in, the token. So he can now put $100,000 a day towards airdrops, towards building out a product. And so I think Ansem realizes this. He realizes this meme coin isn't memetically funny, right? Like it's not really a joke. The Black Bull, it's kind of a joke, but like it's not really funny. So what we need to do now is take this from an attention play to, can we actually build some sort of product on top of this, or make this an under like an ecosystem? I mean, think about Tau, think about some of the top tokens right now in all of crypto. Go on CoinMarketCap and scroll through. Lots of them are subsidizing their top ecosystem projects. And that can essentially happen for the Black Bull, because now they have so much underlying supply and they have so much money coming in. That treasury is starting to stack up. And so what can you do there? Well, you can incentivize people to go and build stuff on top of your token, pair it against the Ansem token, buy Ansem token, build on top of it, and you can subsidize them via, maybe buying compute for their platform, or whatever it might be. They can get paid out the more contribution they make in the ecosystem, the more Ansem gets airdropped to these protocols. And all of a sudden you have a potential situation, or a situation where you have an ecosystem and all these different subnets or eco players that are plugged into it. And that's where I think, if played right, he can kind of take this, and you can actually see breakout products maybe happen on top of Ansem. It seems like a kind of silly narrative, but like it seems like the framing that he could work towards with all this money coming in, with all these fees coming in. It feels like the natural progression. So that's what I'm thinking.
I'll share this as well. If you notice here, our friend of the show, Ika, this is what he says. He says, noticing a pattern here. History doesn't repeat, but it often rhymes. And you see him quote tweeting Ansem. It's going to get real nuts when Solana is back over $100 in a few weeks. And if you go back to December 2023, he said the same thing, quote tweeting the WIF token, right? So you kind of see this same setup in terms of bottom of price action, calling for good conditions to come back. And basically, like with the launch of Market Bubble, his stream, and Ansem the token, he's kind of like, people are, at least the narrative is forming that he's single-handedly like bottomed Onchain in the market. You know what I mean? But like, again, if this actually, like, I mean, we've talked about for weeks what we're expecting out of Bitcoin and stuff like that. If the market truly does do a summer bottom like we think it does, I mean, this will work in Ansem's favor. And I mean, this is all a risk that he's taking, but I mean, this could lead to again, just a revolutionary way of thinking about, how do I scale a meme coin through attention, because these are all attention tokens at the end of the day. So again, monitoring this so that way we can see if similar setups in the future can do well and replicate the run.
Yeah, the timing was good. The irony of the whole thing is, when they launched Market Bubble, which was only like 3 or 4 weeks ago, or what, I haven't been tracking super closely, but whenever they launched Market Bubble, the irony is Ansem he had no allocation in crypto whatsoever. He had hype, and that's it. I think he literally just held hype, and he was even calling for hype to flip Solana in terms of market cap, if you guys remember the first episode or two. And so it's kind of funny. Since starting the show, I think it's forced him to dig more into crypto to kind of just see what was going on. And he's like, wait a minute, he's kind of realized what we've been talking about and realizing this whole time, is like, there's actually good builders building on Solana right now, and there's a lot of activity happening on chain. And by the way, markets are in a really bad spot right now. We might be close to a bottom. And with that, I kind of want to introduce and queue up our next guest, Bunny, because we do have Claw Pump coming on. And so with this whole Ansem conversation, Market Bubble starts. I think Ansem's maybe forced to dig into on-chain more, gets into Solana, starts calling bombs on Solana, gets into the ecosystem. There's a few projects he named by name. One of them being Claw Pump. And now Claw Pump, someone we've had on the show before, recently winning the Coliseum Hackathon, which means I think 250K, and they're getting the cohort 5 or whatever cohort it is of Coliseum, and they're working at the office right now in San Francisco. So it's going to be an interesting conversation, because the whole world's kind of looking at Claw Pump right now and figuring out, what are they doing? How are they iterating and revolutionizing this agentic economy and what they're building? We've seen platform fees and platform volume grow significantly since the last time we had them on. Since the first time we had them on, they had done $64 million in volume on the platform. Now it's surpassed $100 million. We know they keep 1% of all of that, which makes for a very profitable business here, considering it's only been around for a couple months. So with that being said, let's pull our boy Bunny up and just get the updates. This is not going to be a full interview. We've already done that, but we are going to get some high level takes and then just like, where are they at? What are they doing? Vision, all that stuff. Guys, from San Francisco, from the Coliseum office, let me pull up Bunny. Bunny, welcome back to the show.
Welcome. How's it going?
It's going amazingly. And I was gonna do a quick shoot of the Coliseum office just real quick, just so
Let's go.
Let's do it. We get a nice little tour.
Dang, that's a sick office.
In the same place. Yeah, their main like radar offices over there. Like if you get interviewed at Coliseum, you're over there right now.
Oh my gosh! Here, let
you
me
get into like
pop
call
you
for
up.
5 and all that. But yeah, I won't disturb everyone else working there. Yeah, we're here. How's it
Dang.
going?
It's going well. I feel like your last couple months have been probably extremely hectic since we've talked to you. I think when we had you on the first time, you had just won the Pump Fun Hackathon. And so we were kind of getting the Pump Fun winners on, talking to them. And at that point, you had done like $64 million in volume on the platform. It was getting some adoption. I think Twitter was like largely sleeping on it. Since then, it feels like really on-chain Twitter has like started to pick up on Claw Pump and what you guys are building. Even of course with Ansem specifically calling out your project is one that's like interesting and one to look at. So I'm sure it's been very validating. And again, like that ball really started rolling, I think, from the attention side with this Pump Fun Hackathon. Now you've won the Coliseum Hackathon. You're at the office in San Francisco. Can you kind of just walk us through what's happened since launch, but since winning that Pump Fun Hackathon?
Yeah, for sure. So there's quite a few things that happened since, and there's a lot of consolidation on the product, and that is where like Tommy and I both have experience building other companies. We both know the process of how to fundraise, the metagame of engaging with market makers, whatever, LPs, well, like liquidity providers. So for us, it's not so a question of like, what do we want to go ahead with this process? It's more so like, when do we feel that this product is actually ready for it to genuinely be venture scale, right? Like the whole question in San Francisco and the ones that we're having with a bunch of builders and also investors is Clopon a lifestyle business or is it something that actually scales, right? Like what makes Clopon go to like 1% of 100 mil is good. But sincerely, like Jupiter is doing billions, right? Like Jupiter is doing genuine billions every month of volume, and of course, taking a decent fee of that. And that is where I want to be, right? Like what makes Clopon actually get to the billion of volume per month? And there's a few ways to go there. A lot of it is product focus. A lot of it goes to understanding the flywheel, which I think we understood more genuinely this past month, and the flywheel and also the tokenomics side of it. So the flywheel portion, people don't come to Clopon to just like trade, right? Like that was effectively what we thought was going to happen, but people come to Clopon to create a token, and eventually validate an idea thesis that they have, and then go on to build an entire product suite, like people like Chris, right? Like, and then what we found is that we actually should be focusing more time on that launchpad component, not on perfecting the launchpad, but actually giving builders things that makes them stay, makes them want to reward the community, makes them be able to vest, pay for dex screener, create staking, create product economies and around the token that they already have, right? Like there's a lot of these things that actually could be off-the-shelf solutions. Let's say like Streamflow is an amazing product to be able to do vesting, right? But for the longest time, people didn't even realize that a lot of Claw was actually locked, right? Like we did a poor job of communicating that. Maybe we weren't loud enough about that. People didn't realize how much of Squire had been locked up as well, how much of Pang, Nemo, Claw Hunters, like automated buyback processes. But now we're starting to understand that, right? Like we're starting to understand not only the retail trader, but also like the larger investors are like, oh, this is not a wallet that is just going to dump on me. This is a wallet from the dev team that is just locked up, that it's a safe counterparty. Okay, I'm able to work with them. No, and even on top of all that, they can even come to us and say like, hey, I want to OTC buy a very serious amount of Claw for you, like effectively fundraise, right? So like this is the type of stuff that now we're starting to understand, right? Like the people come to Claw to build a agentic product empire, and then we give people the ability to be able to trade on that, right? Like to have exposure to that entire economy that is getting built up.
Can I jump in on this actually? You said people come
Sure.
to Clawpump to, build this agentic economy. It's kind of like the hub for agentic economy. How do you guys do that? I think I've seen launchpads do this in the past where they kind of offer up a suite of tools for their ecosystem. Hey, come build with us and you have this many credits for
Yeah,
inference, you have this, this, and this.
exactly.
And it is a really
Mhm.
nice incentive for builders and like creating this flourishing ecosystem. And it seems like
Mhm.
that's kind of like the direction you're leaning towards. But how do you get from this point where we've got some good initial traction to, like you said,
Mhm.
that Jupiter moment, we got billions of volume,
Yes.
and every agentic builder is choosing Clawpump to build on top of because of the
Mhm.
benefits you guys offer.
So something we're doing a couple things. One of them, and we'll make it public literally like within the hour. So I'll just say it now. Like we're now starting to migrate projects from PumpFund into Clawpump, and also projects outside of the PumpFund ecosystem into Clawpump. So what that means is that we've seen that there's a lot of agentic builders around that have effectively lost a bit of momentum. They've lost a bit of the spotlight. We want to revive them, right? We want to tell them, hey, we know that you're a serious builder. The market just wasn't that favorable to you. They're if they have a token, we are able to effectively we've created this migration tool that allows them to get into our infrastructure, have their creator rewards be programmatic, and then give them the whole suite of tools, not to so they can build companies or products on top of Clawpump, but so they can can manage the token side of their product, right? Like I think that anyone's able to build whatever they want. Like I don't think that Clawpump is going to create a better developer experience or a better VS Code type of thing, VS Code fork at like Cursor to be able to give you a better tool to build a product better on Solana. I don't think we're going to do that, but what we can do 100% is, hey, here's the automated staking script, here's the automated paydex script, here's the automated Jupiter verification mechanism, right? Like all the very nuanced middle steps that you have to take to just effectively incorporate on chain or be able to make your product be serious on chain. That is where we're focusing our time on, right? Like everything else to me is not necessarily vaporware, but has not been sticky, right? Like even if we like people can buy inference for very cheap on Square, and very sophisticated market participants are choosing that, right? And we have integrated with Square for that, but then the momentum on that is not parabolic from the get-go, right? Like you have to continue communicating that story and so on and so forth. What we found works is being able to push the entire ecosystem together and let our success stories speaks for themselves, right? Like be able to actually evangelize people, telling them, hey, look at Square, look at Claw Hunter, right? Like there's someone creating there's this product called Atelier, right? Like Fiverr for agents that is now coming into Clawpump, right? So I want to be able to continue helping these builders, and that be our distribution mechanism for that.
Very interesting. Even walking back something you mentioned, this scout team you're putting together, you kind of said market conditions were really unfavorable for a lot of agentic products that launched, but maybe they were actually really good or had a good vision or good
Yeah.
future, and the market just didn't take to it. I tend to agree with this. Like it's been a brutal market, and the best
Yeah.
builders have gotten beat down and sometimes just kind of forced to give up or whatever. Maybe that's not the right word, but how are you guys
Yeah.
finding these projects? Like, do you guys have someone scouting these out, or like, again, you want all these products to migrate from off of Pump Fund or on Pump Fund onto Claw
Yeah.
Pump and start using it. I'm just like trying to think practically how you actually go
Yeah.
and do that. Are there people scouting? Yeah. How does that work?
We have a few scouts actually, and it's people that, to me, the funny thing is that this is where like you know the meme of like just be on the trenches and you'll get a job somehow. So we have this community member, Penguin XVT. He's been in the community since the beginning. Like I have no idea to this day like how he found Claw, like maybe on like sub like 4 digits or 5 digits market cap, but he's been with us, right? Like he's been around. I have no idea how much Claw he holds now, but he's doing good. And he's been like, hey guys, like I'm just a community person. Like I just love making memes. I love what you guys are doing. He has his own like Clawpump ecosystem ETF now. Like he's doing great. And he has been like, oh, I noticed this other agentic project that I have my tabs on, right? And I'm like, oh, like, do you want to put us in touch? And he's like, yeah, of course. So we were able to give grants for people that to give us some referrals. Also, like a lot of the agentic space on Solana and even in general is fairly reduced. So we keep tabs on people. Like we know who's around. Even at Coliseum, like we've now come to meet a few projects that are serious that, again, market conditions weren't as favorable to them, right? It is a spotlight game, for better or for worse, right? Like it is like the trenches are PvP. Once you get to a much larger size, like we won't be competing with AI products on Solana, but we'll be competing with, Justify Y, let's say. I don't want to name any names, but there are very big projects that have also transitioned into launchpads, right? So arguably, you could get exposure to the launchpad economy through buying that token, or you could get exposure to the AI launchpad agentic builder economy through our token, right? And there's only a finite supply of traders right now, so therefore, if you're doing well, you're actively cannibalizing someone else's attention. But again, I think that a good way to be able to regain that attention is to actually, come build with us, be able to have us push on our socials, give you even just genuine product feedback. Like I think people underestimate how valuable product feedback is. Like since getting to SF, like a lot of the meetings having with other builders and through like generational like investors that have invested in several unicorn companies, right? And just being able to bounce ideas off them in a very relaxed fashion, like that's amazing to me. Like having someone tell you to your face, hey, I think this product direction works, I think you should stop doing this other thing, it's like immensely valuable.
Yeah, that's really
Quick
interesting.
question for you.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask a little. So you mentioned that like having all these builders that perhaps they lost attention due to the market conditions. You're kind of giving them some support, and you're going to allow those stories to kind of be the driver of your own success story. You mentioned that'll kind of work as a distribution engine for you. Do you see that? Like, is there any other like value accrual? Like whether that be to the claw pump, whether it is the ecosystem, like can you walk us through that value accrual mechanism?
For sure. So one of the things there that it'll be a bit public as well. So like we do charge a creator fee percentage, right? Like when we say migrate to Club Pump, we don't mean, oh, now they're on our socials, but we start charging them the creator fee distribution that we have for our standard projects, right? Like that is effectively what is happening behind the scenes, right? So it doesn't come out of like we're not an NGO, right? Like we are all here to make money, to do business with each other.
Right.
So we do allow people to migrate towards us. We automate their creator fee claim system, right? And then we effectively give them these are all genuine services that we do feel comfortable charging for, honestly. So like right now we're charging to migrate to Club One, we're charging you 25% of that 1% creator fee that you're making, right? And again, what we give you in exchange for that is all of the support of the creators behind us, all of the ecosystem help, all the product feedback, all of the even token incentives mechanisms. We are working on some things that won't come out for like maybe 2-3 weeks. But again, that we believe that are things that will definitely help you on the volume side of your token, on the even price action and whatnot, right?
Is there a particular project that or builder that has kind of come to the Claw Pump ecosystem that you're really excited to work with?
Atelier has been the most recent one. We're about to make it public in like maybe the hour. So I think that the way that we've seen, so this is why I love and hate Twitter. Like you never know who's who on Twitter, right? Like as soon as they post a project and if they're around your circles, it's easy-ish to tell, okay, this person's serious, but then you need to give them some time to see how serious they are, right? Like even at some point, like when Chris first showed up in the picture, I was like, wait, is this actually Chris? Did he get hacked? And no, like it was actually Chris. And then we hopped on a call and I was like, oh my God, I'm so blown away that you're building with us, right? Same thing, honestly, similar story with Atelier. Like Tommy knew of him through some crecimiento, like Argentinian crypto co-working spaces. And I was like, oh, is Atelier, like, is the team there real? And he was like, I think, yes, let's observe for like a little bit, right? And now we're very excited to come and work with them. Like, I think that it's gonna, like, we want to integrate Atelier more deeply into Club Pump. There's a couple other, like, there's so many verticals that could be supercharged by even putting a stable coin on the payment side of the agentic product, right? Like, being able to do like no one has cracked UCG for crypto tools, right? Like UCG for crypto tools is still like something very hard to be able to pull off. And I think that being able to pay per request pay for request a video for someone like Atelier and have like genuine creators review a crypto product in a nice UX fashion and be able to use that for marketing purposes is amazing.
Can I ask a little question on this top of funnel here? I think
Yeah.
largely there's a great Web3 ecosystem for agents and AI and the AI economy, but also like Web2 is really building this out in a heavy way. Are you guys looking to build some sort of top of funnel to just get people kind of on and within the Claw Pump ecosystem and then push them to launch a token, maybe if they don't have one through you guys, or what's that top of funnel? It's maybe free, maybe really easy to use that you can kind of attract a massive amount of agentic builders to.
Yeah, I think that so that is also why we're in the set, right? Like we've already started to meet up with a lot of other Web2 friends that are just like doing agentic stuff, completely devoid of any semblance of what even a stablecoin is, right? They understand stablecoins in itself. I think crypto is still very much looked down upon, which is interesting. But that is where we're seeing, okay, what if we create a more institutional approach for Clawpon, right? Like that was kind of like our angle with Claw Agent, right? Like our Hermes Vase harness that it just focuses on DeFi. And we think that there's a couple ways to go about it. We chatted with like this is gonna sound like bullshit, but we chatted with like a very large institutional bank with their digital assets product person there, very random connection, friends of friends type thing. And then we were like, hey, by the way, I also have this company called Clawpump, right? And then he was like, what is Clawpump? Oh my God, agents can trade. And that like blew their minds away. Like just the proposition of, oh, I can just ask my agent to buy me a stock and build a portfolio for me. And to me, that's like the most sincerely like the most bullshit case for like what an agent could do. I think Robinhood is a really good team of being able to showcase what an agent is actually able to do on portfolio construction, being able to suggest tickers and whatnot. Like that to me is something interesting, but there is an angle there. We just have to explore it better. Like I think that like Tommy and I were caught up on the shipping cycle of shipping one feature on a per day, even for like 3 weeks. And then we were like, okay, let's take a step back. Let's actually think about this more deeply. Let's chat with some more people. Like chatting with your users is the most valuable thing you can do, honestly, as you know, as stupid as that sounds. Sorry if I'm being very harsh. I've been going through I've been seeing a lot of builders I appreciate get trapped in these loops, and now it's getting me mad at the trend. You know, like AI psychosis is good, but you have to like lock in. But yeah, being able to chat with your users and realize, oh, you actually have to build this one other vertical. Like that is how you actually crack into things. Like that is how we're approaching it right now.
Got you. I want to also talk about collaboration with Solana. We've seen Solana really be interested in like Solana native platforms like JTX, Solana native perps, Solana native prediction markets with World coming out recently, right? Solana's very interested in the agentic economy and AI agents. How does Clawpump become like the Solana native agentic economy layer? And like, what does your collaboration with them look like, or is there any? How's that happen?
Yeah, so the Solana collaboration goes way back on a personal basis. I'd say like I did this bounty for Vivu when he was calling out a token on base, and he was like, I think this token is getting inflated, or I don't think their activity is organic. So I made this dashboard to track their activity, and yes, it was in fact not organic, right? So that's how I got to chat with Vivu more closely. And then since then we've been chatting, exchanging DMs every now and then. Of course, now that he's a much larger position at the Solana Foundation, he's very busy, so I don't thank him every single time to retweet us and whatnot, right? But I think our collaboration as of now is, hey, you're the largest agentic platform on the ecosystem, right? Like they let us build, they retweet us whenever we have a large product announcement. I think what Laguna did of publishing a whole report on how to get the Solana retweet was one of the most valuable things that any foundation team has done, honestly. Like it's very obfuscated usually how to actually get support from the foundation. And like we did the perps competition with the team at Phoenix and the team at the Imperial. We're working on some Imperial integrations as well, just to have a more broader access to the perp side of agents. Like I think so this is also where a lot of the Solana collaboration and product feedback is interestingly comes into play. So we have a 25K bounty for the top traders on that perps competition, right? And we have a 1K bounty for the top agentic trader. We got to meet a good agentic trader. The good agentic trader was just like, oh, I just like, set up my agent, gave it some like instructions of what I knew, what I had on my mind of how to trade, and that was it, right? But then we had a chat with this other like genuine like finance educator, primarily on the TradFi side of things, who was like, hey, we like your copy trading tool for perps on Phoenix, but we would like it even better if you could copy trade across different venues, right? Like Velocity, Hyperliquid, and whatnot. So now that is another angle, and since we've started building more towards that, like our perps volume has remained steady at like 5-7K on a daily basis now, which is not much, but it is definitely like a genuine 10x from what it was before. Like before, people were just trading like a few $100. So it was like, okay, maybe there's another angle there, right? And again, being able to communicate that as genuine product feedback to the Solana Foundation and telling them, hey, this is where we see things going. We want to build this agentic launchpad for builders. They are happy to continue amplifying us as a place for other agentic builders to come in and deploy on top of us, right? Like like one of the main Solana leads of AI is based in SF, right? And he's literally like one office down to the right from my side, right? So, it's not hard to just go up to him and say like, hey, Rich, can we do this together? And he'll be like, yeah, for sure.
So I think I want to ask kind of what happens from this point, because you have Solana support. You've now won the Pump Fund Hackathon. There's 250K. You won the Coliseum Hackathon. Is that another 250K?
Yeah, it's another 250K. And
So now,
again, like go ahead.
No, so you now won $500,000 in hackathon winnings. You're prominent on Solana as the leading agentic launchpad. I guess I'm trying to figure out like what are the next steps? What happens from here? Are you guys going to start doing your own launch pads? Like, yeah, walk me through next steps.
I think there's a lot of next steps that I think there's some really big next steps that I think are too aggressive for this one, because we're just a few weeks away from them. If we were shipping it tomorrow, I will leak it right now. But there are some things that I think are fascinating. One of them, and I'll hint about it this way. To me, the best project tokenomics wise that Ethereum did not know how to value, and the true like creator NFT like community did not know how to value properly, was Sora. Like Sora to me was one of the best ever launchpads. They had all the support from Base. It was a really insane success story for how to actually prop up a launchpad within an ecosystem, right? And then they played around with tokenomics like I feel like 8 times or something like that, like an insane amount of times. Yeah, and the other crazy thing, and this sounds bad in a way, right? Like being able to say like, oh, someone changed their tokenomics this many times, but in reality, it led to so much good experimentation. And the other crazy thing, like if you go to Twitter, JS_HORNE, like JS_horn, you see that he has all this experimentation public, right? So there's genuine lessons of like, he's written so many blog posts on how to actually approach a launchpad tokenomics, how to incentivize builders as creators on your ecosystem. And to me, that is an insanely valuable lesson. And also we've chatted with investors of his platform, and like there seems to be a lot more room for growth on how to actually grow Claw as a token, not only as a product, right? Like the big question that a lot of people ask us is Claw Pump a lifestyle business? Like, Bunny, you're gonna become a millionaire from this. Like, yes, that's of course 100%, but can all of your investors become Deca 100x millionaires off Claw Pump right now? Like, what is the one product, feature, approach, communication mode that allows us to get there? And that is what we're trying to solve, right? And I will say, like, a lot of the lessons on Jacob.energy do hint at how to do that.
Interesting. We got to kind of start wrapping up because our next guest is in the waiting room. But you mentioned earlier, and I just want to get this clarity, because you said a lot of people were unclear on the tokenomics of the flywheel, how much supply we hold, how much some of the. Could you just clarify all that up for you guys? Clarify all that up for us guys on maybe how much revenue you guys have made, what your current tokenomics look like, and just everything there.
Yeah, so we want to do a gigantic blog post on that, but I'll keep it simple for now. Like we have half a claw already locked up. We're gonna lock up another extra portion of our even personal claw amount that has been unlocked, right? Like when we started claw, we were like, okay, let's see if this works. Some of it has invested already. We want to revest it again. Because now we have investors, of course, we have to have that chat with investors and telling them, hey, we want to lock up our claw again. And so far, the checks that we've done with every one of them, they've been okay with it because they're like, yeah, of course, you're just starting to fundraise, right? Like it's almost as if Claw became well, it was already a company, but now it's like a way more serious company, right? That we have a way higher valuation on our private markets now. So we're like, okay, like this is how we're gonna go about it. On revenue breakdown, 1% of the volume is still correct. We now have settled down on taking the 35% of that 1%, 35 bips of that 1%, right? So like 0.35% is the standard. We're right now doing the incentive mechanism for projects to migrate to CloudPalm of just charging the 25% instead, right? Just, a little extra revenue for the builder. And yeah, we'll clarify that on our analytics dashboards. We've added actually also amount of agents deployed if you scroll a little bit down, because now we have funded and non-funded agents. And you see that there's been a diversion about a few weeks ago, and that's because we started being a lot more active on Twitter and letting people deploy through tweeting, right? Like now when you talk to our agent through tweets, we actually give you an agent, we can launch an agent for someone else, pre-fund them and whatnot. Like Ansem has an agent on CloudPalm, right? That we deployed for him on Twitter, and he liked that actually because he wasn't tokenized. We didn't force him to shill a token on CloudPalm. We just gave him a tool that now he's able to explore, and yeah, we'll go on Market Bubble at some point.
Nice. That's exciting. Have you guys been in that conversation with Ansem about joining Market Bubble to chat with him?
Oh yeah. No, I'm saying it as in like yes, we're programming it.
Yeah. Okay, nice.
Gonna have Chris join us as well on that.
Oh, dude, it'll be a whole ecosystem thing. Let's go.
Yeah, the entire agentic economy is going on Market Bubble.
Let's go.
Let's
baby.
go.
Maybe one last thought here on these numbers because they are pretty impressive.
Thank you.
So 111 million in volume. You guys have done $598,000 in 24-hour volume. How has growth been for 24-hour volume? And I mean, again, like I said, 64 million last time we had you on. Now it's up to 111 million. Do you have numbers on month-over-month growth or week-over-week growth? I guess since you're so early at this point.
Yeah. No, I want to make that chart, and I just haven't done it yet. The average daily volume is still oscillating between it varies too much. It goes all the way to like 500K, or even I remember one day we got to like 400K, and I was mad that day. But again, like everything had like mega nuke. I don't know what Bitcoin was at, but it was just like horrendous. And then literally the day after, we went back to like 4 or 5 mil of all that within that 24 hours. Because like 3 projects on CloudPalm had shipped like major updates, and then I was like, okay, like this is great, right? What we noticed is that month over month growth primarily depends on how well we're coordinating messaging around our top projects, right? Like now the top projects are going to be like Atelier, Squire. You can go on our verified tab and see the ones there, like Peng XVT, Claw Hunter. Like we try to keep our verified portion of projects fairly curated. Byte also has been working on another iteration of their new gaming project, so excited to see whether they show up with. But yeah, that's the way we're approaching it.
Very interesting. I have to ask about this funding as well. I mean, you mentioned funding, and it's a conversation we definitely want to get into. Here, let me pop you up there. With that being said, you guys have the 500K. Like it seems like capital. You guys are pretty good on capital. You're revenue positive. Like you're profitable. Yeah. You have 500K from these hackathons. Maybe there's some grants mixed in there as well. Why are you guys fundraising? How's that process been? What does that look like?
So we're not, so sorry, just to clarify there, we've actually haven't fundraised fully just yet, right? Like we're having conversations with investors purely to get product market feedback. Because the question is CloudPalm successful? No, like every single person we talk to, they're like, okay, CloudPalm is successful. Like there's zero question about that. I personally don't think we're successful just yet because we're not at the billion mark, because other people have done it, so we should be able to do it too, right? The question is, what is the 100x, right? Like how do we're chatting with investors that wouldn't care about CloudPalm unless we make like 100 to 200 mil a year in revenue, right? Like that is the very serious conversation to have. And the talks that we're having with them is, okay, these are the parts of the features that we like. if you want to work on those features, on this feature set, then we'll give you, a much aggressive, larger check, both like cash and also valuation wise, right? But again, like these are conversations that just happen. They're still not necessarily early, but we're not actively fundraising, right? Like we're literally just getting product feedback. Like I don't think anyone should, especially in this market environment, you shouldn't fundraise unless you have like really nice terms suddenly, and you actually want to tie yourself to that product for a while.
Got you. We got to wrap
Yeah.
up here. So maybe close me out with this thought. You guys really
Yeah.
started as this agentic trading platform. And again, $111 million in trading volume, largely from agentic trading, 600K just last 24 hours in agentic trading.
Yeah.
Where do we end up from this? Obviously, you're kind of not pivoting, but like focusing a lot on this launchpad feature and just getting people onboarded. Of course, many of which will have agentic trading services. But where do you go from here? Is agentic trading the end goal, the only product? Are you going to have 3, 4, 5 more that kind of sprout out from here? I guess I'm trying to get this vision that you've really crafted in your head.
I think that the vision is we want to help prop up the major agentic builders on CloudPump, give them all the tools they can have access to, simplify them so they can create product empires on top of their token. Right. I really like the wording of product empire because it's not going to be the first product they ship. It's going to be like the second, the third one, right? Like you've seen Chris iterate 3 times already and maybe a 4th time now with like perpetuals in friends markets. So, give them the opportunity to create that and then let other people also invite them and say, hey, do you want to give your product a shot? Come give it a shot with us. We'll see how it goes. You have literally 100+ tools that you can experiment with on CloudPump and an infinite amount of permutations of configurations of those tools that you're able to play with to see what happens, right? Like maybe the next Squire tool, like dev tooling, is already on CloudPump. We just haven't figured out what is the right configuration of all the tools there to make that happen, right? But someone will. Like we meet random builders every day, every week, right?
Yeah. All right. Well, this has been a fascinating conversation. Again, success story after success story coming out of just the ecosystem and yourself, of course, with CloudPump. So we appreciate you chatting with us today, and we're looking forward to the market bubble episode.
Yeah. No, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Eh?
All right. Chat soon, buddy. Peace.
Bye-bye. Cheers.
Take care.
All right.
Nice
that was a banger.
combo.
Yeah, we got to keep it moving pretty quick because we did go a little bit over. So we want to respect, our friends at BioLLM's time here. But any quick takeaways, Chill?
No, I mean, I think, I really like, again, I don't want to call it a pivot, but I like their focus and what they're doing right now. I think that's really important that they're focusing on supporting builders, but then, also trying to accrue value to, the core business and their ecosystem. So hats off to them. Can't wait for Market Bubble. That episode, that CloudPump Eco episode should be solid.
Should be a banger. One thing I did love about Believe, like one of the biggest takeaways was Believe finally got something right, and they started offering, credits and kind of this ecosystem of or suite of tools to ecosystem participants. Hey, you get this much credits, you get all these different tools that you can use if you're a builder, super valuable. And I was like, oh, they got that right. Like that's really good. That's a really good way to attract serious builders and founders to come to the platform, where it's like, okay, maybe I launch a token and get creator fees, but I can also meaningfully accelerate my business by working within Believe, working with the ecosystem, working with the tools they offer. And so although Believe got a lot wrong, clearly they did get that right. And I think it's pretty interesting that Bunny's kind of using some of that methodology in terms of like, we want to make sure this ecosystem is fantastic for everyone building on it, because we get that these builders can go and build, on other, vibe coding platforms, but like we want to offer something that's purely unique to ClawPump and something that they can come to and find value, whether it's ecosystem partnerships, whether it's, free inference credits, whether like whatever it might be, we want them to find value in using us. And so I think that's kind of what's going to set them apart in terms of launch pads for specifically agentic builders. So we'll see how that works, but we got to bounce here. We got BioLLM, and we talk about this. Now this has been a conversation we talked about this the other day on the show. It's been an interesting conversation. We saw recently they had some sort of relationship with IBM. Not sure if this is just like an accelerator program, something we've seen in the past, or like how deep this relationship goes. Of course, we've had BioLLM on in the past. I think even Anthropic recently is talking about a new research department they're putting towards this. It's something you connect to your brain, kind of like Neuralink. It's pretty cool. It's a really crazy conversation. And so again, we have artists back on the show to just talk us through it again. Another Pump Fun Hackathon winner. So there's two. I actually didn't mean to plan that out like that, but here we go. With that being said, artist, welcome back to the show.
Hey, thank you very much. Thank you, Dom. And I appreciate being here again. And I do want to clarify, we actually didn't, we're not a Pump Fun Hackathon winner. We came after that, and I've kind of, I've done this myself, but they've been very helpful. The Pump Fun, they've been very, very helpful with helping us get a good product out and really, work well with our users and our community. So that's been fantastic. And I was trying to think, there was something else that I was thinking that you brought up, but yeah, kind of getting into it today. I mean, the IBM thing. Yeah, so we're actually a silver business partner with IBM. So that means, hey, we went and we kind of went forth with our compute, and you can actually pull up the link. We're on their website, which is really nice. Let me just send that to you. I have to peel it out of the text messages to my mom the other day. She was so proud of me, but but yeah, let me just make sure. I'm gonna drop this in our Telegram, but you could just blow that up, and we're in the directory, and our solution is actually going to be listing on there soon, and it's something I'm gonna like demo today and kind of explain the data angle of it. So this is IBM.com. We're on there, and our solution will be in the partner directory as well very soon here. So this has been just such an honor, and they've been such good people to work with. We actually did get some credits, some cloud credits, a pretty substantial amount for a company our size. That's kind of let us scale the solution that I'm going to be sharing with you today, and just kind of explaining a little bit more about how that ended up working. And we've thankfully had some brand new neural substrates come our way from from Cortical Labs. So that's been beneficial. But these neural substrates generate almost 275 gigabytes of data every single day. So I guess without further ado, I'll just kind of
I do want to walk this back. I want to stick on this IBM point for a second. How did that come about? What did that look like? What are the benefits there? How are you guys partners? I just want to know like the full picture.
Yeah, give us a process. Like what was the process of like getting that with IBM?
A lot of time on the phone, man. So I've been aware of this program since I think last year, and there's a lot of companies out there in the compute and AI space where if you you basically reach out, you have to go through the channel and set up like an account. But we were able to basically commit to like saying, hey, I have this money going out the door that I'm spending on compute anyways, and I commit to like, hey, I'm gonna basically I'm gonna spend this much with you guys, and then I'm gonna get the credits at this level. So the silver level is like, hey, I came in and signed a contract with them to commit to hey, I'm gonna use your compute, and then you guys are also gonna provide some helpful resources as well, which has been wonderful. We're gonna be able to do kind of webinars and all that stuff kind of within their internal system. I've spoke with some really wonderful people over there that have just been so helpful. But when we were kind of getting onboarded to this, getting to the level that I kind of needed it, which is that silver partner level where we are listed on the website, our solution is listed in their directories. That was like, hey, I did commit to like, hey, we're going to have this much coming in on compute anyways. And it was like, not an awful deal, because a lot of my compute spend was just all over the place. And it ended up being like, I was spending so much more than I had to on other like, services like RunPod, or services like RunPod hosting, just like my stuff was all over the place. I came and I actually consolidated it under that IBM umbrella. And that's not even to mention, like what we're about to get into is like, that 275 gigs of data per day that, these neural cultures produce. And how do we effectively use that? Well, that was like kind of part of the reason we needed a partner like this. And, they run, such a wonderful program for this. But yeah, it is very much like, it's I think it's good for a company, a startup like ours, but probably not for everyone. But it definitely worked out super well, and the people that we ended up getting connected with over there have just been super, super helpful. I mean, it's out of this world helpful. I've always got somebody over there that's willing to help me out, so it's just super cool.
Got it. Got it. So like being a silver partner, like what does that give you access to? How does how else does that help your business?
Yeah, so there's some really wonderful things here. Like I said, the first and foremost is just being in those partner directories. And then after that, there are some which I'm working with them on. We're going to be having kind of an announcement regarding this generally available solution that we just put out, our data solution, which will live within BioLLM Studio. But that's been very, very helpful, because we're actually able to kind of go in and run these webinars, which we're going to be pushing to our community within kind of there's a kind of side of IBM.com, community.ibm, where there's people that work there, IBMers who have worked there for many years, who are subject matter experts in certain areas, like whether that be product specific or a type of compute like neuromorphic compute. And it's just super, super cool to be able to coordinate with them to actually run like a webinar. We might even have booth presence at their it will be in the fall, in October. There's a convention that they run for partners. Build Partners is what we are called. And it's super cool because how we're coming with it is as an embedded solution, and the product that we end up using, that is the cloud object storage. We use watsonx data to kind of wrangle together really what is a gargantuan amount of data that's coming from these machines. And then the ticket there is to be able to offer this service to customers that really need it, because there's a lot of exploratory efforts. I posted something the other day about how neuromorphic compute, there's two big participants in that market, and that's the kind of in silico, that's like a computer. It mimics neurons, but it is not neurons like what I do. But benefiting that type of development, because that industry is set to grow 8x in the next, it's growing from $500 million today to $4 billion in a couple of years. And yeah, let's I think it's valid to also kind of jump into the Anthropic point, the J space, I think they were calling it, because there's another angle there, that's really fascinating, because it's like, okay, Anthropic in developing Claude, yes, this one right here is super good. In the process of developing Claude, this was like it was an unintended kind of consequence that they ended up finding. And they're like, well, Claude has a memory space in it that mimics global work theory, which is a that's a cornerstone theory of consciousness. And this ends up being more proof that LLMs are not that much different than the human brain. And what is that going to do? It's going to necessitate, Anthropic also, if you go on IBM's Partner Plus on at Partner Plus, IBM Partner Plus on X, you'll notice Anthropic is actually, an IBM partner as well, and they, one of the things that I think is going to be necessitated by this, Jacobian space, which is the full acronym, the J space discovery, is neuromorphic compute, which is far more energy efficient, but it also respects that, if we look deeply into the inner workings of Claude here, and they open source some code too in this thread that they posted. But if we look at that, there's a super big opportunity for them to actually start kind of leaning into this. And I think it'll be 2 or 3 down there. where they yeah, this is good, JSpace, you know, and but there was a GitHub repo they provide as well, that kind of validates it, more than validates that, you know, there is this internal monologue that does happen with Claude. You know, within Claude's own little world, he has an internal monologue, you know, while he's thinking about how he's going to respond or something like that. And this area, the only way that we can kind of feed the beast, so to speak, is to really understand ourselves, to really understand human neurons, really understand, you know, how we can mimic that at scale using, you know, something like the neuromorphic compute. So super fascinating times right now. And this, you know, development, you know, the global workspace theory, a discussion of quasi proto consciousness in AI is incredible, you know, so we love to see it.
So walk me through. I mean, I think from the last time you've been on here, our show has been growing pretty massively. So
yeah,
we
man,
likely have some new audience here. So walk us through the MVP, because I want to link this part of the discussion to the broader space. We see, like, you know, Meta is kind of doing some things in this area as well. So I want to get an idea of what you're building and how that relates to this broader movement that's happening in Web 2.
Yeah, well, Web 3, Web 2, Web 3, but
Web 2/Web 3, yeah.
yeah, but I guess I don't know if we're calling it Web 4 yet, the AI stuff. But anyways, the MVP is, you know, I'll jump in here and I'll screen share the thing, but I like to just, you know, kind of give the elevator pitch for it, which is it's super important. So biollm.com, our original kind of like our whole thing initially was just the concept of training an AI using real human neurons that are grown on a dish, in a petri dish in a lab. So what you're looking at right now is actually a simulation of, you know, a real neural culture. You know, so this is a simulation. We've created a kind of cursor type product that allows developers to go and do what we did. You know, so what does that mean? That means, well, if you're working, you know, with the Cortical Lab CL1 in the cloud, you know, on their Cortical Cloud platform, you're able to pull that device in, look at it and visualize it contextually with your agent, just like in Cursor. You're able to develop with hardware, you know, like EEG to better understand, you know, you're actually able in the side agent, I won't go into that demo right now, but you're able to actually, you know, use little eyebrow motions to accept each command here. You know, when I click start cycling tasks, and this is all, you know, I just raise my eyebrows when I'm using this to run that, but not going to quite jump into that real quick because I still want to stay on task with, like, hey, you know, what is BioLLM, and, you know, how does this relate to the IBM partnership? But, you know, at a very simple level, like, what we're doing is what Claude has just discovered. We discovered that like 6 months ago. I mean, I have notebooks. I have a notebook sitting here that I hand penned probably even a year ago, 2 years ago, regarding, like, hey, how does global workspace theory relate to artificial intelligence, and is it possible for a machine to be conscious? That was the question that we set out with. The answer, which ended up getting really popular, was, hey, this guy trained an LLM using real human neurons. You know, I trained that inference, and I really like what Anthropic put out, because it was like, hey, you know, they're talking about, in a different sense, you know, not using neurons, obviously, but hey, how does Claude choose the next word, you know? And that's what we honed in on in those early days of the project when, you know, this caught wind on Pump, was just like, hey, you know, how do we, you know, look at the words, how the layers of the LLM will select those words based on, you know, the activity stimulations, but the closed loop spike feedback that's coming from the neurons. And if you look at this, it's like, this is, again, to delineate a digital twin simulation. But if I put in all of these little stimulations here, which is the blue lollipop diamonds that you can kind of see happening right on there, you know, that's how we communicate with the culture itself. And it's like on some of these, you know, that already have activity, you know, you're able to get, you know, a little bit of pushback in, you know, certain patterns and whatnot. Again, simulation, but the data that backs this comes from, you know, to give you a supply chain of it. We train on the Cortical Labs CL1, the real wetware. We take our data, which is hundreds of gigabytes, it's ballooning to become multiple terabytes. You know, this year alone, we'll probably collect, you know, an upwards of, it'll probably be around 65 terabytes of data that's usable in offering these simulations. So this synthetic data, you know, to offer this to the public and make it scalable so that, hey, a developer that really believes that, you know, they want to make something like, hey, you know, the Doom CL1 demo, you know, but they're not quite financially ready to commit to like, okay, you know, there's a obvious financial commitment that technology isn't cheap, but we're doing it for essentially the cost of, you know, a $20 a month subscription, which, you know, this product, the simulator, is shipping in the next update, but you can actually get started with BioLLM Studio today. It's on our website.
So you guys are kind of using this data that you collect as a way of just kind of providing that for other builders.
Yeah, and that's really our goal, is because I'm going through I've been doing a series of tutorials lately on, hey, like, how does this work? Like for people that do onboard to Cortical Cloud, you know, which I would highly recommend, but the wait list is a little bit long right now. But that kind of necessitates, you know, hey, like there are builders out there who want to see like this cyberpunk future where they can, you know, develop, you know, real software or something fun like a game like the Doom demo, you know, using, you know, real human neurons in the loop. But we're taking it from being, you know, kind of like, at least really, I mean, if you're talking a 1 month commitment on this with the setup fee and otherwise, you know, you're talking $4,000 or $5,000 a month, you know. But we're able to basically take that and turn it into the cost of like, hey, it's, you know, a very low cost, we're talking pennies per call type of API, you know, and offer it contextually in a development environment that's designed, because the agent on the right hand side, kind of like Cursor, and again, this is actually like a whole patent pending solution that we have, you know, we've been very diligent on that as well. But unlike Cursor, this is actually able to directly loop into the neurons, use everything that we know from building BioLLM to kind of allow all sorts of different data scientists and app developers to look into like, hey, okay, you know, how do I build a system that maybe uses that, you know, JSpace and Claude effectively? How can I use neurons to begin, you know, augmenting some of that token selection, you know, in an open source model? So super cool.
So you guys basically have created this building block for developers to use. Now, just zooming out and looking at this entire sector, what are people building? What can people build with this? Like, I'm just trying to get a sense of, you know, where is this sector in terms of its stage? I mean, is it very nascent? Is it something that's, you know, already popping off and busting at the seams? Like, let me know.
Yeah, so definitely already popping off, but it's yeah, I want you to just take a look and shift kind of the perspective and look at Meta and their Brain to QWERTY. That was a viral demo that kind of came out earlier in the week where they used this it was a chair. It reminds me of I don't know, there's that meme of Wojak, like his brain's so big that he's like sitting in a chair that's his own brain. But the Meta, they use this big magnetic chair that you got to sit in. It's massive. It would tower over me. And you're sitting there with a headset, you know, a ridiculous looking headset like this on, and you need the chair and the headset. And then they're like, okay, you can actually type with your brain, you know, you can type your thoughts with your brain. And, you know, when the public reads it and Meta announces it, a big brand says, hey, we're doing this, the public doesn't realize that there's that hardware requirement behind it, you know? So it kind of is, it just is like, whoa, thought to text is coming. And the reason that Meta has been after this for some time, and their approach is, you know, they're using a giant magnetic machine and also fMRI, so the machines that, you know, you kind of lay down and go into to look at the brain. And the reason that they're building this is because they're big into wearables, okay? They imagine a future, you know, because right now they're shipping what's like this little neuro wristband, they call it. They're imagining a future where you have glasses, you know, with a heads-up display, and you're able to just think. You know, there's a very small sensor in those glasses that is able to do what this big headset can do. And you'll be able to be like, oh, okay, I want to click on this. Oh, I want to like that post on Instagram. I want to, you know, I want to type this to my friend on Messenger. And that's the type of thing that becomes really big for developers. Now, my approach is, instead of this big magnetic machine, we created this, you know, like patent pending approach to train AI using, you know, the real human neurons that we know are in our brain at a very granular level on this multi-electrode array that Cortical Labs has pioneered. And we want to figure out some of those signals and build this digital twin model of what's going on inside the brain, so that we don't have to actively infer it using a massive piece of hardware. We can use a small piece of hardware like this. Maybe in a few years, this becomes part of, you know, like apparel, like baseball cap. I know there's, I think it's called, I think it's called Saba heads beanie. And that's, you know, an EEG beanie that's being developed by, you know, former OpenAI engineers. Okay. And it, you know, the wearables are going to start to come out for this, and developers are going to be like, oh shit, like, how can I make this technology so it's actually usable for something in the real world? And that's where we come in, because we're like, hey, you know, we've actually built a fantastic model of the spike dynamics down to the very neuron, you know, using, you know, neuron on a multi-electrode array. And these developers can take that and run with it in a very simple sense too, because they'll be in an agentic environment that's contextual to the deepest parts of the brain. So
gotcha. And so we do have to wrap here in a few minutes. It's been like an awesome conversation. I mean, this conversation blows me away every single time. Every time you come on stream with us. But walk me through, like, you know, we talked about the IBM, you know, the silver partnership that you guys have. Like, what other traction have you guys seen? Is there any like outside interest from, like, whether it is VCs, or is there any, like, you know, interest from developers that you've seen, like, kind of at the early stages as you guys start to build all this out?
Well, yeah, it's actually super cool, and it's like a good way to close it out, because I have had so many different types of people contact me over this, and it's like a curiosity kick in the tires. Like, I did have a conversation with an employee at Neuralink last month. I actually, you know, I see their logo. The guys from Easy A have, I've been talking with them, and, you know, because I know that they're big on education. And I'm like, okay, you know, like, my goal is to educate 1 million developers on how they can use, you know, synthetic data from wetware to improve wearables. So, you know, it's just super cool that we have a very diverse array of different people that have reached out. I have had some conversations regarding, you know, investment and whatnot with various potential partners, but also, you know, there is the more VC style. But at this stage, it's, you know, really important for us, because, you know, compute is where a lot of that ends up. And, you know, we've actually been looking at, you know, there's a lot of other big corporate partnerships that offer kind of compute for equity, and we're looking at a few of those right now. So that's probably going to be the next step, is, you know, definitely more in the way of these kind of more corporate partnerships, but, you know, definitely have had so much diverse interest as well. So
got it. Sounds good. Well, we have our next guest coming up here. It's been a fantastic conversation today. I mean, it's crazy what you guys are building. In some ways, it's so futuristic. It's almost hard to imagine, like, every time we talk. But we really appreciate you pulling up to the stream and sharing more about what you guys have been up to lately.
Yeah, thank you very, very much for having me once again. Once again.
Of
See you,
course. Looking forward to next time. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Take care, guys.
All right. Take care.
All right.
Dude, this is like some like 5-10 years in the future, sci-fi, wearables. Like that conversation with bio LLM never fails to put my imagination to real work when we talk. So, but yeah, great conversation. Glad we got some clarity around the IBM stuff. I'm really interested to see like what other corporate partnerships he's he talked about compute to equity partnerships with some partners. He also talked about some VC interest. So did he go through ACE yet? Is he
No,
like
but they
ACE
are
round?
doing that. They are doing the ace round, I believe. Is
Okay,
what I
that's
saw.
going
I
to be
forgot if
interesting.
they've already opened it or how that looks, but you guys will have to check out their platform or their
Yeah.
Twitter to get more information on that.
Yeah, I think it's still early stage. We have our next guest coming up, so I won't harp on this too much, but I think, it's still a pretty early stage project. Because essentially they're providing data for builders to enhance, things like wearables and just kind of push along this whole sector. So it's still very early stages. There's not the sector itself, from what I gathered, isn't, there's a lot of minds. There's a lot of they have a lot of intellectual capital allocated to this sector, but not a lot of like products to show for it just yet. It's very early. So I'd imagine, we still have to wait to see that traction over time.
Yeah, that's what's tricky for me. I don't know what this is going to practically look like or turn into. So waiting to see some practical use cases from it, and then I think I'll be a little more on board with the whole notion. Nonetheless, Crypto Jones said a great publicity stunt would be to offer that compute on UsePod AI. I guess you could.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good idea.
Nonetheless, guys, we got Lasso Finance coming up. This is the MetaDAO, the most recent MetaDAO curated project. We saw kind of a break for a little while in MetaDAO curation. It's going to be a really interesting conversation to have here with Hunter about why they chose to go down this route with MetaDAO, why they decided to do a raise now. We saw, I think, the past couple raises really not make it past, that raise mark because they couldn't get enough capital committed. Lasso Finance managed to do it in a big way with $25,637,000 committed to the project. Very successful raise for them recently. They did a new mechanism that MetaDAO hasn't, tried in the past, where it actually rewarded early contributors rather than people all piling in at the end, making it super confusing on how much allocation you guys were actually going to get. So gonna talk all things out. I think, Hunter has a previous exit, right? So he's not a first-time founder. This company is doing pretty meaningful annualized returns right now on revenue. So it's going to be a great conversation. We're going to pull up Hunter right now and get into it and basically get the full Lasso breakdown so we can all understand it better today. That being said, Hunter, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
We are excited to chat. You must be above the moon right now. You guys just crushed the raise. This has been like a very successful MetaDAO raise, especially coming off the back of a couple that didn't really work out for the previous founders. How are you guys doing internally right now?
Yeah, doing great. I'm really pleased with the outcome. It wasn't certainly was not expecting that level of oversubscription. So yeah, it was a wonderful surprise to have. I landed an SF the day before yesterday for the Solana Coliseum Accelerator. So it was just straight from one thing into the next. No time to celebrate, just time to execute.
Let's go.
Nice.
Yeah,
I love that mentality. Congrats again. How much were you guys oversubscribed?
The total commits were 25.6 million, I believe, and the blind cap was at 1 million. So yeah, 25.6x.
Wow, amazing. Go ahead, Dom.
Yeah, not so bad. Hunter, I want to kind of get started with just who you are. We're going to get into the Solana Coliseum Hackathon. If you guys won that, what the acceleration program looks like. But I really want to start at the top. We got everyone here, I think, is relatively new to Lasso. Maybe you have some guests that are from your community tuning in today to get a better understanding. But I want to start with your background because from what I can see, it's pretty impressive.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, so I started my career just doing kind of iOS contract work, and building kind of consumer apps, and got to build some pretty high profile iOS apps, namely the 7-Eleven like rewards app, which had high single digit monthly active users. And from there went to Meta and worked on the virtual reality labs. It's like essentially all the physical hardware devices. What my focus was on a lot of the media interactions, like, hey, Oculus, hey, Portal, hey, Meta, do this thing. It's kind of the space that I worked on, and was working on that 2019 through 2021. Kind of around 2021 on the side, I was doing these little crypto projects. And in November of 2021, I was like, all right, I'm done. I'm going full time into crypto, which is incredible timing. You know, that's what an amazing time to pivot from AI to crypto. And yeah, so kind of built a couple little projects there. I had actually started an early version of Lasso around then, and it had the same privacy onboarding process that we have now with no ID upload required. It was non-custodial as well, and it was built on Lightning, but Bitcoin Lightning. And I think especially because the Lightning aspect was difficult, I launched this earlier version of Lasso and just absolutely nobody used it. And I kind of put it on the shelf and forgot about it. And then kind of started up again in 2023. Just focusing on the no ID upload required process that we have now. So now it's not Lightning, it's EVM, Solana, Stellar. And started building it then. Then also, as you mentioned briefly, kind of simultaneously built an instant off-ramping service with a typical KYC process, and sold that in 2024, and just have been focused on Lasso since.
Interestingly, you guys chose to raise on MetaDAO. We love MetaDAO here on this show. I think it's, Chill's bang the drums on it being probably the best crypto native solution out there. Obviously, coming into this, you must have looked back at some of the recent raises and been like, man, the ICO market right now is tough. Like, raising money in crypto is tough. You mentioned like you pivoted from AI to crypto when crypto basically just shit hit the fan, to say the least. What were you thinking going into this raise? I mean, you had like the numbers to back it up. Clearly, you went on this like media tour, I think, teaching people, educating people. Where was your headspace at when you guys were like, it's time to raise, let's do MetaDAO? I know it's a tough environment, but we're going to kind of power through and just see what happens here.
Yeah. Okay. So to give some history, I mean, we've had people approach Lasso to do ICOs or traditional VC, like many times over the history of Lasso. On the traditional VC side, it just never made sense because Lasso was cash flowing from the beginning. And so it didn't really seem necessary. However, like, having your users be a part of the success of the company with the token is valuable. And however, the other ICO strategies I've looked at, like the Meta was, for lack of a better term, it was like pumped up fun launches, and you have to do all this crazy market making stuff to stabilize the chart, and then you just end up with this token that's totally divorced from the it's like a meme coin of the company. It didn't feel good. And so yeah, so then I went to the Coliseum Frontier hackathon earlier this year with no intent to raise, just because I've explored those options multiple times, and I told the Coliseum guys that. They introduced me to Profit and Mista at MetaDAO. I read through their docs and just immediately clicked. It was like, okay, this is what I've been looking for the past 3 years. It strikes that good balance of the holders having a real claim on the actions that drive the business. And what's most important to me is some of these Lasso users I've had for 3 years, and they have provided so much value, not just from using cards or products, but from helping out the community, answering in the chat from all hours. And I really want them to be rewarded for that, and to be aligned kind of with me on the mission. And it just was immediate click. It was read through the docs in, I don't know, 30 minutes. And it was clear that's what we needed to do.
So can I ask why this was important to you? Because it seems like, cash flowing from the start, profitable. We don't really need VC. We actually want to keep that equity, keep the company, that we built to ourselves rather than give it away to VCs. But you choose to go and tokenize, give some of your IP away to these holders, and get put in the MetaDAO structure to where holders have a ton of control. And you said it's important for you to have this for them because they've helped really contribute to build this. But why did you choose to do that when you could have, I think, more selfishly been like, let's just keep this all to ourselves. Let's keep this business going, keep all the cash flow, all that good stuff. Like, what was the benefits for you, and why did you choose to do that? Of course, the bootstrap distribution we know that comes from tokens is very, very good. Maybe that's reflected in your numbers already. But I'm just curious, why did you kind of choose the more selfless route of tokenizing rather than like just keeping this cash flow all to yourself?
Yeah, I mean, so there's a personal reason and a business reason. On the personal side, I mean, it's not like these 3 years have been super smooth sailing. And I think like right in the beginning of Lasso, we had a single card issuer running with them, revenues growing rapidly, and then they just decided, okay, this program's too high risk, we can't do it anymore, we're shutting it off like next weekend. And it was so stressful. I was like on my I was on my engagement trip. I just like,
of course,
to my now wife, and then that happened. It's like it was like a terrible movie, and so many of those users, stuck with me and provided value through the ways, and just and I just have extreme gratitude to those people, and a chance to give back to them in a meaningful way is just really important to me from a personal sense. Also, on a business sense, it's not just all like it's not just my expression of gratitude. Also, from a business sense, it is great from a marketing perspective to have this token. Like it before, really the only way that people could be rewarded for telling their friends about Lasso were through like referral links, which helped, but it's not a total alignment in the same way that MetaDAO creates. And so you do have some flywheel effect. You do have some kind of marketing effect, which is really valuable. So both those factors are important.
I guess this kind of aligns with what you just mentioned, but I just kind of had a question. Like we like to do clips on the show, so we'd likely clip this part up. But if you had a message for new founders, perhaps they're not familiar with the space, they're not familiar with tokenization, the benefits of it. Maybe they're not even familiar with something like MetaDAO. You stumbled upon it, thankfully. But what's the message to perhaps other founders that maybe they're not as aware of solutions like this?
I am all in on MetaDAO. They have found the best balance of community input on the business and the product without becoming bureaucratic. You get some advantages of that as an entrepreneur. Some are free gifts like free beer, and some are free gifts like a free puppy, where it adds some responsibility, but it's good to have. On the free beer side, you do have that marketing aspect. Like there's people who want you to win if they're a holder in a way that they didn't before, and that's just kind of like a free benefit. On the free puppy side, you are forced to be really clear thinking about your product and your vision, and a much higher level of transparency about how the business is doing, how revenue is sourced, what your expenses are. When you make mistakes, you have to be much clearer about it in a way that you didn't have to before. And that's that kind of responsibility, like somebody giving you a puppy is, because you do have a higher level of responsibility, but it comes with a much higher rewards. I highly recommend it.
Can I kind of jump into the business here? Of course, the main thing for the show is just educating people on the founders and team and tokens that are on this. For those that are unaware, what is Lasso Finance? What is it you guys are providing and aiming to do here?
Yeah, Lasso is where you can get the crypto prepaid card with no ID upload required. You just go in and sign a nonce with your wallet, and you are signed up. That's all we need from you. You can get prepaid cards to spend online or in person via Apple Pay or Google Pay. You can get gift cards at thousands of merchants, and you can even send bank transfers to debit cards. Those are all with just signing your nonce, and that's all you need to do. You can maintain your privacy while spending in a compliant fashion. That is by far the bulk of the business. 96% of the volume is just what I described. You go in and connect your Phantom wallet or MetaMask or whatever, and get some cards. 4% of the business, but growing rapidly, are AI agents. So with a single prompt to your OpenClaw or Hermes instance, your agent can go get its own card, go make its own purchases, and kind of take part in agentic commerce, which is really exciting. Your agent could go make transactions on the internet without even a human in the loop, given that frictionless onboarding process, which is really exciting.
Question for you there. What's the underlying like infrastructure? We've talked to a few neobanking protocols in the past, and they've done things like QR codes that leverage the kind of banking rails of the local country, and they use that in order to kind of facilitate payments and things. So I'm just kind of curious, like, what's the underlying kind of rails that you're using to facilitate all of this?
It varies by country, kind of like you mentioned. So, like if you're doing the transfer to a debit card in the United States, then you're getting an ACH or a wire, or maybe what's called like Visa Direct. It's like a instant payment to a debit card. In Europe, then it's SEPA Instant. There's all kind of these. We're using kind of traditional fiat rails at the point of spend. On-chain, it's pretty kind of standard stuff. You're sending in stable coins, and which we convert to USD and send to our partner issuers.
Got it, Dom.
Can I ask you why this is important? I mean, we see a couple different ways for people to spend, for agents to spend, with X402. And of course, some people are going down the traditional neobank route. You've chosen a bit of a different route. Why is this offering specifically important? And like, who's the target, I guess, audience and customer that you guys are looking for?
Is that question on the human side or the agent side?
More of a human side, I would say.
Okay. Yeah. So right now, for the most part, we can earn assets on chain and store assets on chain privately, but we don't have a way to maintain our privacy at the point of spend. And the reason that's important is broadly for the success of crypto as an industry. Like, I think most of the time when people think about privacy, they think about like hiding your tracks as a criminal. That's like kind of what everybody jumps to. But the purpose of being able to have privacy at the point of spend is valuable in the same kind of sort of way that decentralization is valuable. For our goal as people in the crypto industry is to disintermediate the banking system, is to bring back the power over the money system to the people. And if we're not able to at least have the ability to have privacy at each point of the fiat structure we're replacing, we won't be able to replace it. I think the easiest way to think about this is for Solana, Bitcoin, Ethereum to get to the level they're at, they had to have this level of decentralization. And it's not like when you or I make a transfer on Solana, we think about like, oh, this is a really good feat. This is so decentralized. But it's necessary for people to invest in it for the networks to get to the level that they're at right now. The ability to have privacy is the same kind of version of that. Like, imagine if everybody was able to see how often you were paying off your credit card and for how much, or like if whenever you stop paying your credit card,
right?
All of your other lenders can see that you've lost your privacy. We need to at least have the ability to do that. And that's kind of the goal of what Lasso is building. So all the Lasso users, just got this message that it was initial goal from Satoshi. Like, this is what Satoshi did not envision us to earn assets on chain and then send there to our exchange, sell to USD, wire to our bank account, pay off our credit card. That's not what Satoshi envisioned. He envisioned, and what we're executing on is this holistic solution. And so having privacy is very important for that. So the Lasso users tend to be kind of OGs. They've been in the space for a long time. They've read the white paper. They understand the value of privacy to achieve our ultimate goal.
And Chill, I know you have a question, but to kind of just close this off here, if you had to do a little bit like a base take on this, what are the benefits, the pros and cons maybe to having this system rather than, I guess, a traditional neobank?
From a user's perspective?
From a user's perspective, yeah. What are the pros and cons?
Yeah, you are living in the future. You are operating completely on chain, from earning your assets to storing them to spending them in a totally private way. You're living where the industry has to go. In the future, it can't be mediated by these bank-like entities, and so Lasso allows you to get there. On the agent side, what we're providing is the tooling for your agent to go and fully participate in the internet economy. And when people hear agentic commerce, generally what they think of is what they jump to, and what I would used to jump to is like using my agent to buy my groceries or like plan this logistical trip, which is, it's nice. Agents are not as good of a user experience as humans there, right? Like it's still not any better to order your groceries via an agent, and that's probably because humanity has spent billions and billions of dollars and lifetimes of the smartest people on making the consumer purchasing experience really good. Even if agents get to where it's better than you going on Amazon yourself, it's still an incremental improvement. You know, it's like an improved checkout flow kind of.
Sure.
What Lasso was very excited about is using agents to build businesses that otherwise wouldn't or couldn't exist with humans, either due to the cost of human labor or due to humans essentially not being able to see the market or not having the time or energy or resources to explore that market. There's going to be all these businesses that are built that are agent driven, and that is what Lasso is building the tools around. So, you know, right now agents can go and get cards, send bank transfers. What we will have completed by the end of the Coliseum Accelerator is bank accounts for agents, agentic bank accounts, reloadable credit card bins. And with those additional tools, your agent can do everything on the internet that a human can do, can build these businesses that didn't exist before. That's what we're really excited about.
Chill, I know you had a question.
Yeah, I'm kind of like I had a different question, and I'm just like processing what you just said, because I feel like the implications of that is really important. And who knows, maybe we can just kind of maybe getting ahead of ourselves, but kind of touch on the vision a little bit here. Like, where does this all lead? Because the way I see it is, you know, this leads to businesses that, like you said, haven't been made before, but now you have like agent to agent transactions, you know, things that can be done, you know, autonomously that perhaps could have never been done before. And so you now have this like 24/7, you know, agentic economy that's driving business activity for countries around the world. So, I mean, that's something that I'm thinking about, and it's honestly blowing my mind a bit, but maybe we can get your vision on, you know, what you're seeing, the implications of like building something like this for agents.
Yeah, I think the transformation comes in a few different stages. So the original stage is humans are making websites for other humans to purchase on, right? And like kind of our next step here is humans are using agents to enhance their execution on selling to other humans. Next, we'll have maybe agents starting to purchase on behalf of other humans, and kind of the stage that we're building for. I think how it'll first look is it won't even look like agent to agent commerce. It'll look like your agent has identified this particular market. On an interview with Profit, we talked about building a secondary market for Hot Wheels. Like Pokemon cards are the #1 in the United States toy collectible. Big primary market, big secondary. Hot Wheels, big primary, no secondary. And then of course there's markets 3 through 20, right? And nobody's building for them because they appear to be small, but they could be huge. And so probably the next state that we execute on is your agent is identifying that market, building a website, hooking up the payment providers, and selling to both humans and agents, right? Like kind of at the same time. An agent or a human comes to purchase there, they don't even know that it's agent driven. And so for a while, we'll have these blended agent and human commerce happening where neither side knows for sure if the other one's human or agent or not. Mm-hmm. And then maybe eventually, I don't know how long it will take, but eventually we get to this like, super agent to agent transactions. They're talking to each other in binary, and there's no kind of human visible intermediation, but I think we'll be in this category for a little while.
Wow. Nice. That was amazing to kind of hear your vision. So, you know, from just kind of going back to the business itself. So you've built all of this, and from what I understand, you know, your kind of metrics, your revenue, like you guys are humming along really well. Talk to us a little bit about, you know, user growth, what that looks like, card spend, and all of that good stuff. Saw you had some good numbers on the website too.
Yeah, if you go to /stats, then you'll see kind of our volume and revenue numbers for the past 30 days. So we had about $750,000 in volume into the platform over the past 30 days, representing, I believe, over a little bit over $34,000 of revenue and over a 92% gross margin. that's kind of our volume right now. And as part of this raise on MetaDAO, the goal will be to really increase that volume substantially. And a part of that is when you double your volume, these issuers, you don't just double your revenue. You probably increase your revenue 120%, because as your volume goes up, you get higher interchange share from issuers, higher discounts, things like that. So it's a super linear return on that revenue.
Very nice. And so this revenue came in over what time period?
The chart we're looking at right now is the volume into the platform over past 30 days. If you scroll down a little bit, then you'll see kind of the revenue from that volume. The revenue we earn is a blended blended fees charged to users and discounts interchange from issuers.
Got it. Go ahead, Dom.
34K in 30-day revenue is very good. I mean, you guys are averaging over $1,000 a day. How many users do you actually have using this? And like, what is, I guess, the use of these funds? Now you also have this, additional money that you've raised from MetaDAO. What are like the current use of funds and focus that you guys are, I guess, looking at today?
Yeah, the immediate results of the raise are it's silly, but like having more capital on hand to refill at our corresponding issuers. Like in the past, we have big surges in volume, last would like run out of stock essentially. It's stupid, but fixing that first, and then really focusing on really trying to double the amount of volume that we have in a quick amount of time, and that just goes into dropping fees on the remaining cards we do have fees for, and doubling down on some of the marketing channels that are working really well. Like for example, on our Google PPC campaigns, we have a over 16 LTV to CAC ratio. That's like lifetime value of user divided by cost of acquisition, which is extremely high. Like it doesn't need to be that high. We need to put more dollars into that, and get to those higher volume levels, get that higher level of interchange share. And then over the next 12 months, kind of the goals will be on the human side, get the prepaid card experience to be at the same user experience as a credit card. A big part of that is actually bringing rewards back to users. Like right now, not only we're not bringing rewards, we're charging fees. So it's like no fees, then eventually return rewards. It's kind of the goal on the human side. And on the agentic side, it's building all that tooling so your agent can do everything that an entrepreneur, that any three of us can do on the internet.
That's incredible. Over $400,000 annualized based on the last 30-day metrics we just talked about. And I guess you kind of just touched on it, but how do we scale that from 400K to 800 to 1.6 and so on and so forth? Like what are your initial plans, I guess, an actual go-to-market strategy to make that happen?
Yeah. So on the human side, the number one and number two competitors to Lasso being number three, combined for over $500 million in annual volume. And that's just kind of executing on the exact kind of product suite we have now. And I think we can execute better there with lower fees, faster, and with wider distribution. So that's just kind of the clear, very, very straightforward, large multiplier, kind of large VC outcome, is just continuing to execute on a good human experience. On the agentic side, the TAM is almost unbounded. Like if you see interviews with Elon about his humanoid robots, he talks about the TAM of that company. I'm blanking on the name right now, but that company, the TAM of that is the sum of all human labor, right? Like it's just almost unbounded TAM that's hard to even imagine, because if you have this humanoid that does just as well as a human, then it's like impossible to even imagine. I think the TAM on the agentic entrepreneurship side is similar, right? It's like the sum of all the market cap of internet only businesses, and that's it's a very fun goal to be a part of, to be able to push us towards that.
So I think to understand this business, we have to understand these markets that you're operating in. It almost seems like, the TAM is obviously much smaller on the card spend side versus the agentic economy. Does that mean you guys are going to focus a lot on the agentic economy and positioning there? Or are you guys still, really trying to pioneer that main business you have and get to that top rung and corner a lot of that volume?
The nice thing about this is we can build the product in a way where the investment into infrastructure serves both markets. a kind of similar model is Amazon was able to spin out AWS because of the intentional way they've structured their kind of microservices internally, where they essentially, kind of always, anytime they spin up a new AWS service, they already have a customer, which is their product within. And so we get to kind of build those in parallel. I think an important thing on market timing to call out is we're still super early on the agentic side. Like, still a lot of the use cases we see from agents are at that 1% crossing the chasm. We've all read that book. It's tinkerers. They are still using agents to buy snacks for the office, which is not any better than doing it yourself. And so we're still early there. And so kind of my focus is build on tooling so agents can execute in every way that a human can. And that way we can be ready when specific verticals on the agentic side take off.
Interesting. Largely in positioning there. I like it. I want to talk about the raise and the token here. You guys had 25, nearly, actually, if you round up, almost $26 million committed to this raise here, 3,418% over allocated. And you guys were shooting for a 750K minimum. Can you tell me how much you guys accepted from this? And I guess moving forward, what happens with the token? Kind of just give us all things recent raise, how this raise was different, token, fill us in there.
Yeah. To MetaDAO's credit, they're very flexible about executing on the entrepreneur's goals for the raise. And so this raise was a little bit different than other MetaDAO raises in the past. And honestly, I wasn't even aware that it was different during the process until we got closer to the end. But essentially, we did a blind cap, which means we have a minimum raise of 750. There's a maximum that's not stated, and that's just to prevent whales or snipers coming in and taking out too big of an allocation. And the thing that was a little bit different is any amount raised above 750 up to the blind cap, which was 1 million, rather than like changing the valuation based off of that, any additional dollars above 750 increased the ICO sale percentage of the company, or I'm sorry, of the token, and decreased the team performance package commensurate amounts. And kind of the thinking there is, from my perspective, is if you're trying to join this ICO, you shouldn't be punished if it goes really well, like
right
from an investor's perspective. And typically on raises, it's this floating valuation based on the amount sold. And so you're sort of incentivized for it not to go well, or, to tell other people it doesn't go well. If you're somebody joining that pre-sale. So yeah, did that a little bit differently, but it felt like the most fair, right thing to do.
Got you. And how much did you guys actually accept from that commitment? Was it $1 million?
Yeah, it was 1 million. Something that we did a little bit different there is we kind of did a pre ICO roadshow talking to institutional funds, and so we had some pre-allocated there. I think probably something that we could have done better, or not probably, what I should have done better is to be much more upfront about the institutional funds that were kind of pre-allocated in the raise. So just something to learn from. But we had the institutional funds. The next kind of cohort in terms of seniority was existing Lasso users. So existing Lasso users who connected their Lasso account with MetaDAO, they had priority, and we got most of them 100% filled on their allocation, and then the rest was kind of a remainder for the standard MetaDAO user or retail.
How important is that kind of a strategic investment approach in terms of you kind of do this roadshow, you get the right institutional capital that's maybe going to help back and accelerate the company, as well as, existing users, make sure they kind of get filled on their orders. And then, the last people that come, I guess, on in terms of importance are the people that just now found about it. They just maybe are trying to get involved right now. How important is it for you to align that community with the correct investors?
Yeah. On the institutional side, it is very, very important to have that strong base of holders with a very long-term horizon. And it's not something I appreciated before I started the process, but one of the difficulties on crypto markets versus like public markets, for example, is that the makeup of holders are in general like entirely retail on the crypto side. And as an individual, they don't have as many requirements to hold for any period of time. They don't have these target returns. They have external life circumstances. They're more driven by emotion, just like all of us are. And so as a result, you end up with high levels of vicissitudes on the value of tokens. And so having I apologize, not specific to value token, but just having institutional holders who have a long-term vision and value add for the project is really important. And then also on the last user side, again, it's just like being able to reward existing users with having kind of input onto how we operate.
Well, you must be feeling very validated right now because you did this roadshow. You had some strong commits from institutional side. You also won the Coliseum Hackathon, which we just had Bunny on. Of course, I also won Coliseum Hackathon. So you're in San Francisco right now by the looks of it, and $250,000 in your pocket to continue development here. What happens now, right? You won this Coliseum Hackathon. You completed this raise. Like you mentioned at the start of the show, your head's down, just like what's next? Well, let us know what's next for you guys.
Yeah. The big thing I'm excited to have, this is kind of a live announcement, is by Friday we have the inaugural MetaDAO owners meeting, and something we'll have there is that I'm excited to start is revenue flowing. Yes, Abe the Brave will be there on Friday. We'll be speaking there. We'll have revenue flowing back into the treasury already by Friday, which is really exciting. I think sometimes it takes people a while to get there, but we're going to have revenue coming back straight into the treasury by Friday on a daily basis, which I'm super excited about. That's like not product level. That's kind of a back end level, but I think from a holder's perspective, it's exciting to see. On the product level,
if you don't mind if I jump in there, it's very exciting to see. As someone who's been watching MetaDAO and watching O1 Resolve, kind of the investors relations dashboard, I've been telling people, if you can get an entry, at or around this like net asset value, it could be very valuable, especially if you're watching that closely and you can see the treasury go from monthly spend, in your case, it's 50K, to actually starting to curve in terms of monthly revenue. Well, you have a very, very good opportunity to get an asset close to or at the value of the net asset value that they have on books, plus the upside and the growth potential multiples here. I think that's very interesting. So you guys being the first to actually have that revenue start to come into the treasury is going to be really, really cool to see play out in real time. So I appreciate you making that point. And I think it's important to note. So didn't want to interrupt you, but I felt that was important to touch on.
No, I appreciate it. To be clear, I don't think Lasso's the first one to have revenue flow back into the treasury, but I think we will maybe be the fastest to execute on that. So I'm excited about already being able to prove kind of Lasso's commitment. So yeah, that's on the treasury side. On the product side, I mean, my goal is to get to kind of compressing those fees as fast as we can and increasing that volume. My goal will be to kind of double the volume by the end of the program, and those are like the immediate user level things you'll see. And then on the agentic side, we do have agentic bank accounts working in dev. My OpenClaw, named Mimi, has her own bank account, and she can receive funds in there and send them. So being able to provide that to users, I think, will be really, really exciting, especially on the entrepreneurship side. Those are the big goals for the next 7 weeks, 8 weeks.
Love it. What's the goals here coming out of Coliseum? Obviously, there's a lot of great builders there you can collaborate with, find synergies with. What does that look like? I guess there's maybe webinars, people speaking. Like, what is that? Is it a month that you guys are in San Francisco for this, or
walk us through the whole experience?
Yeah.
Well, we're here for 8 weeks. I have no idea. Like, I've only been here for 1 day, so I really don't know what we're doing here. I do want to call another important announcement is you spoke to Claw Pump earlier. This week, the Claw Pump and Lasso integration will be live, announced. So your Claw Pump agent has earned through its DeFi strategy or whatever strategy it's executing on, and it can spend with Lasso cards. So very, very excited about that. And yeah, then you get to work kind of alongside builders. There's a demo day at the end, and so hopefully get a lot more people to be bullish on Lasso. But as far as the actual structure of Coliseum, I kind of have no idea. It seems pretty fluid, but I'll find out. But yeah, I mean, this is like start of the morning for me was hanging out with you guys, so it's yesterday was the only day we had.
Well, we're glad to be the start of the morning. This has been a fascinating conversation. I think we really covered everything. You guys have the 50K monthly allocation from the MetaDAO raise. Maybe just to close the loop on that, what is that going towards? Do you want to kind of walk us through the where those funds are going to be spent on for the next month?
Yeah. The big one is on a salary that's about 30,000 of the 50,000. The remainder goes to just kind of typical operational tasks, and then on the marketing side, scaling up the marketing side. Like for paid acquisition, we've only ever started that this year. Before it was all referrals, and it's only like a couple $100 a month so far that we're spending. So 30,000 for salary. Ideally, hope to get to spend up to maybe 10,000 on the paid marketing side if we find channels that have that same great LTV to CAC ratio, and the rest is kind of boring operational stuff. Got to have on-chain analytics providers to to ensure our users are not OFAC sanctioned, etc. Banking fees, things like that, kind of boring stuff. Google Cloud hosting, but those are the three big categories.
Really interesting to note that your customer acquisition strategy up to this point has been largely, I guess, organic rather than spending on paid marketing. Can you talk me through, I guess, how you plan to go to market with paid marketing? What the very early stages of paid marketing has looked like? Have you seen good results from that? Or just, I guess, generally trying to get your thoughts on this paid marketing angle?
Yeah. So as I mentioned earlier, the Google PPC is the best performing campaigns, and with X ads being kind of the follow up. I think kind of revisiting our referral system, it is a kind of a form of paid acquisition in a way, is worth examining, but it just hasn't been a focus before. So I think there's going to be a ton of low hanging fruit there. It's going to be kind of more of an exploration mode on just trying additional channels, not just search channels, but also like chat GPT as a marketing tool now, executing on that, and then kind of going to where our customers are, whether that's like forums, bulletin boards, telegrams, etc. So just a ton of things to explore, and that'll be kind of the first step is throwing a couple $100 at 40 channels.
Yeah. Hunter, well, this has been a fascinating conversation. I appreciate you coming on and talking with us. If I missed anything, chill, or you have any questions, feel free to jump in now. But I guess as we kind of go towards the wrap up here, is there anything you can give the audience to chew on, the people that are invested in Lasso, following Lasso, something to be excited about here over the next coming 30, 60, 90 days?
Yeah. Our goal is, if you are a Lasso user, we want to get to you having the credit card experience, that user experience with not just no fees, but rewards, and with the ease of use that you have on the credit card. To get there, I need your feedback as a user. Like almost all the product decisions are driven by what you tell me. Message us on Telegram, send us an email on what we can improve, big or small. I want to hear it, and I want to execute on it for you.
Very cool. Hunter, like I said, pleasure speaking with you. We will keep track of Lasso and what you guys are building. It's really cool to see, especially here at the MetaDAO meetings you guys have going on, listening to you there and watching that treasury start to get some inflows. So really exciting stuff. We appreciate you coming on and breaking it down for us.
I appreciate it as well. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks so much, Hunter. Talk soon.
Bye, guys.
All right, there we go. Look, two
Solid.
Coliseum participants winners today. Love to see it.
Takeaways?
I really like how they're doing. I mean, look, so they have a $50,000 budget from MetaDAO monthly, and they're already doing $34,000 monthly in revenue, right? And so if you annualize that, that's over $400,000. Of course, very early stage. You want to factor in some of the growth on this stuff. So automatically, like, very little burn coming out of that monthly runway. So it's really nice. They have a very, very long runway, especially with the $250K they got from Coliseum, the $1 million they raised from MetaDAO. Like, their runway is very extended. And so, which is always nice to know. Seems like he's doing some cool stuff. Hunter's clearly got his head on his shoulders. He's previously exited, which I thought was very cool. Yeah, I think it's an interesting business. Of course, the privacy aspect is nice. There's a lot of cyberpunk people. I think that's important. Also, I tend to agree with the fact that, like, I don't want people seeing what I'm spending in my day-to-day life. Like, you don't need to know what I'm spending at the grocery store, how much, what I'm buying, when I'm doing it. And I think that is a nature of crypto we've talked about plenty of times on the show being something that just needs to change, and why we're kind of bullish on some of these protocol level privacy solutions and privacy layers in general. So yeah, I think I'm bullish on the idea that spending, consumerism, whatever, should not be public. And like, just like the traditional world, all that stuff isn't supposed to be aired out for everybody. Everybody shouldn't be able to see your bank account and what you spend on. So I think I'm very aligned with that. I like the numbers. I like the metrics. I like Hunter. So that's my my takeaways.
Yeah, 100%. It's a great business. I mean, look, he's had this built for a long time already. And he's a great builder, good resume. The business has grown already, and it's crazy to think that it was only growing via word of mouth. Like
Yeah.
no kind of like marketing or anything has been turned on. So I mean, we can only imagine what happens when that part of when that part of things gets going. So yeah, interested to see how things go, man. But this looks good. Coliseum Hackathon. Hopefully I'm sure they'll ball out there and do well. So wishing them the best. But great product. And I mean, $1 million so far in revenue. That kind of speaks for itself, you know.
He also mentioned, this partnership that he has with Claw Pump coming out soon. It'll be interesting to see if that becomes the default way for these agents to spend their profits, or for the human operators to spend the profits, which will be hopefully a big driver of volume for them. Also, yeah, I agree with you. That paid marketing thing, it seems like lots of organic marketing, maybe a referral structure, but that's very standard. They haven't really leaned into the paid marketing yet too much. So to see how that grows their business will be really, really interesting. And then also, like right now, I think they're largely, human payments, but leaning into this agentic economy and how he explained Elon Musk breaking down the TAM of this and how it's a blue ocean and it's really the entire global economy is like the TAM of the agentic economy was really interesting. And, he didn't mention like we have any direct, I guess, footing or positioning in the agentic economy to where we're going to try to capture a big portion of that market, but just building out this infrastructure similar to Amazon did with AWS, to where when the onslaught of this comes, when we get that influx, we're positioned, prepared, and ready to execute on it, I think was interesting. And of course, with that being a small percent of their business now, watching that grow over time will be something you should keep eyes on. So did he say if there was any limit on cards without KYC, like up to 10,000 or up to 1,000, but above that you got to do KYC? I think
I did not ask that.
We didn't ask about this. I
assumed
you do think there's a limit?
I do not think there's a limit.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of assumed with this whole privacy, no KYC thing, it's just like no limit on it. Which again is, if the case, very enticing for some users, I could see for sure. But no, Darth Infro, we didn't get that question. Great question. You should have popped it up. We would have asked. I think I need to rewatch the Bunny interview on half speed. He's all over the show. Yeah, Bunny's going. I'm a 2x speed kind of guy. So whenever I rewatch our own show or watch someone else's show or listen to a podcast, I'm 2x speed, maybe 2.5x, depending on if it's a slow talker. Bunny is one of those guys who just talks in 2x speed naturally. So it's you definitely got to pick it up, but he dropped a lot of sauce. Yeah. This comment would have crushed in the bio combo. Not sure what comment you're referring to here, but yeah, good conversations today, man. I got some stuff to cover now that we're off the show. Also, Grass had their token holder call, which is something I wanted to listen into. Obviously, we missed it because we were live on the show. It happened at 1 p.m. I'm just going to quickly check in and see how that's reacted to that call. Oh, wow. Looks like priced in. Go ahead, Joe.
No. Let's see. What did price do?
Yeah, well, it's down 9% on the day, despite having a green day generally for crypto. So it looks like it was priced in that they were going to have some really good numbers. Now, I did see a post from somebody on a recap. So I'm going to quickly look into that, and I'll have to listen to it later, maybe off stream. But I do want to talk about this. I got another sleeper project I think we need to look into as well in a second.
I got a couple things. I got a couple things I want to talk about.
Bet. We got some sauce for you then. All right. So yeah, here's Austin Barrick, Austin Barak, who's been very bullish on Grass. Great trader, by the way. He's had a strong fundamental take to it. I mean, he is obviously a growth investor, but like very strong fundamental projects. This is his token holder recap. Strong data from Grass token holder call and showing it is at the forefront of crypto and AI. They anticipate $52 million in H2 2026 revenue, equating to $104 million annualized. That's really good. Let me pull up CoinMarketCap real quick to see what Grass is valued at. Again, we needed clarity on the token. Like, where does the token come into play? Recently, they had an announcement as well talking about they're no longer paying out in Grass, which is kind of interesting considering it's like a deep in project, which is good, I think. But the numbers were very small. I saw users getting paid out. So this is a $120 million market cap, $500 million FTV. And they're reporting, according to Austin Barak from the call, $104 million annualized. 2026 revenue expected to grow 311% from 2025. Again, take these projections with a grain of salt because they're coming from the Grass team. But we did see, I think their previous projections were pretty, pretty conservative, pretty spot on. Team is investing heavily in growth and to reduce cost. Live context, retrieval inference product going live soon. So I have another product. Reiterated all value to the token. Okay. This was the part that there was a lot of uncertainty on, like where does the token value lie? Is the foundation keeping this money? What is the spend looking like? How much money is coming in? There's just a lot of uncertainty and lack of clarity around revenues, token value, but it looks like they reiterated all value flows to the token. If that is truly the case, and they're doing $52 million quarterly, they're projected $104 million, or the first half of the year they did $52 million is what they're projecting, and the second half, they're anticipating $52 million. So I'm not sure what they did the first half, but second half, whatever they're projecting, are anticipating $52 million. $100 million plus annualized, and the token is trading at $120 million market cap, and all value flows to it. If truly all value flows to it, you have a pretty interesting look here. I would need to go into tokenomics and see what inflation is looking like now that they're paying out in USDC, but seems like pretty bullish. I'll have to listen to the token holder call and give you guys a full breakdown tomorrow on stream, but that's what I'm looking at for Grass. Of course, the market, though, not responding well to it, down 9.3% on the day. But that's no surprise. I think this was being priced in pretty heavily. I mean, Chill and I specifically had a conversation. I forget the exact level, but, down here around, I think the 0.34 levels, more around the 0.4 level, just about this kind of being front run into the token holder call. So there it is.
Can I run back that as well? Because there was something I mentioned on, we had this whole chat. If you remember, we had this debate, and not a debate, but we had just had this kind of like back and forth, like, hey, like, how's this token doing? How is Grass doing? I was very, very hesitant because I'm like, I'm going to pull up my chart here. But if you look, I told you guys that, hey, we've been kind of forming these higher lows, all this stuff, all this like charting that you see and stuff. That's from our last conversation. I said, look, this is making higher lows, higher lows, higher lows. I haven't seen another higher low yet. It's just been this kind of like slow grind up into an area of resistance. So we've had this area of resistance, for quite some time. We've been watching some SFPs play out in this area as well. And I basically said like, hey, this isn't a place where I want to long. In fact, we had this conversation back at like 44 cents. And I said basically like, hey, I think I'm probably going to end up seeing if we can get to like this sub 40 cent level. I might revise that to like a sub 42.5 level. So about right here. That's about where I'm comfortable bidding Grass, or at least looking for a long setup anyway. But we've seen this kind of like, all these lows getting built up, and I wonder if makes a run on some liquidity at the lows, or B, does it just like does it just kind of go like that and like squeeze up? But it is a strong chart. It is a strong chart. So
I think it depends much more on fundamentals, like what was actually said during that call. We'll have to go and listen back to it.
Yeah, there was another tweet here there's another tweet here that kind of broke down the grass holder call. They talked about, their revenues. I believe you talked a lot about their revenue. Their 2025 revenue 17 million. Their December materials guided Q4 2025 12.8 mil, which implied 20 mil for the year. Second half of 2025 came in at 14.3 mil. Projected revenue 65 to 75 million in 2026. First half of 2026, they already booked 17 mil in profits, and so I guess they're expecting a huge Q2 with to kind of catch up for the rest of their 2026 projections. He was talking about their profitability, and he did also say kind of basically the same thing. Team confirms all value goes through the token. This has been like this dual token equity structure has been talked about quite a bit on the timeline. You've probably seen my tweets on it as well. Ansem has also been kind of not back and forth, but he's also been kind of engaging on some of that stuff. He's taken a liking to MetaDAO. In fact, Profit recently, I posted a tweet, and Profit basically responded to this tweet, kind of, defending, like, because, for you guys that don't know, like, there's a the tokens, the way the tokens work, the tokens act as equity, but there is a LLC DAO side of it, that MetalX, which the people behind the Ace rounds, they're the ones that kind of work with MetaDAO on that. So you have Ace rounds by MetalX that, he's saying that, basically the token and equity is still separate, and it's up to the team to honor that commitment to make sure that the token can be transferable to equity. And he's basically using this as a way to say, hey, look, MetaDAO, they make sure that, like, all of that is, decentralized, it's all permissionless, and you basically have that token equity structure from the jump. You don't have to rely on the team for anything. But with Ace, it's an asset conversion model. So, like, he's saying you still have to rely on the team. I want to give some pushback to this on with Profit, because I understand that it's not a fully permissionless process, but at the same time, with Ace, there is legal structure, right? So, like, there's these teams are legally obligated to kind of push this process along and honor their commitment to the community to make sure that the tokens are able to transfer to equity. And essentially, if you don't do that, you basically commit suicide with your business. And then you also have legal ramifications, because there is a regulatory side that holds founders accountable. Now, this hasn't been tried and tested in court, obviously, so there's a bit of nuance there. But for the most part, these teams are kind of like they're incentivized to make sure this goes through. If you tell your community you're doing an Ace round, the likelihood is, and the incentive is, to do the Ace round and make sure it goes well. Or else you lose your community, and you lose some business integrity there as well. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of call that out. I'm actually making like an entire write-up that I'll post it later on today. But this is the write-up here. Just kind of talk, and I'm not fully done with it, but I wanted to break down the top 3, in my opinion, token to equity or ownership models. Like, obviously, you have MetaDAO, crypto native solution. I think that's going to do really well. I think MetalX is a more balanced version, that allows control that still allows founders to kind of be in a little bit more control of their business. Which, they have that right. And then you also have Bedrock, where it's sort of this like protection layer, where there's a foundation that's on the cap table that kind of, defends the token holders, if you will. But it does kind of stop token holders from getting left behind. And, you have your other models like Street and stuff like that. But I wanted to kind of call attention to that a little bit, because this is a huge discussion. I don't think every project needs it, but I do think at the same time that most projects in crypto, they don't need a token. A lot of them don't. And if you do have a token, then you need to align it with your business fully.
Absolutely. I do want to talk about something else that's starting to get some attention. One we have coming on the show later this week. And we need to talk about this because I felt like, it was very important that I tried to get these guys on the show. I don't know everything about this company, but I do know their numbers are really, really good. And I thought if we get them on the show, we might be able to start kind of one of these runs like we have in the past with a project that's just been overlooked. Avocado Toast, fantastic trader. You guys need to follow him if you don't already. But he had a post on Chip, okay, which is USD AI. And they're doing something really interesting with stable coins, where it's actually backed by inference, right? We know inference is the talk of the town. It's valuable. Data is, or it's a new oil, right? We call inference the new oil. There's always a new oil every couple months. But that being said, let's give this a read because I think we need to talk on this. Everyone loved Chip for a few days back in April when it was 4 to 5x higher than here. And let me actually show you guys the chart so you have an idea. Okay, this is the chart right now for Chip. Okay, the ecosystem token of USDAI, right? Very, very low. It launched. It had a ton of buzz. I tried to get them on when it first launched. I couldn't get through to them. Now I got through to them, which is I'm even more happy that we got through to them now at these lows here when we're starting to curl. I mean, you look at the chart. I'll stay on the daily because why not? You look at the chart and fundamentally, or I should say technically, from a technical analysis perspective, they are starting to curve, which is exactly what a lot of these charts looked like before they started popping off, specifically in the Solana ecosystem. Okay. Now I know this is also on Arbitrum and whatnot, but let's look into the numbers. Okay. So here's what Avocado Toast posted. Meanwhile, fundamentals have only gotten better. The protocol ARR is $45 million. Dylan Patel and Semi-Analysis are talking about need for creative solutions around GPU financing. CME is about to make compute futures a real thing. We've talked about this plenty of times on the show. Financing and credit markets around compute will also spring up. It's one of the few cases / implementations where crypto / token actually makes sense, since tokenizing the compute into a stablecoin is basically securitization on the blockchain. Should be like a VVV type play, in my opinion, but I don't know. Maybe I'm washed. Look at the numbers. I assume these are taken from the USDAI official post. And we're going to check that in a second as well. By the numbers, 98.1 million loan for Duo's Edge AI, 2,304 B300 GPUs, 34 million next-gen cloud facilities. And again, these are all sorts of different GPUs and inference, all that stuff. Compute, I guess I should say. $20 million cumulative yield, 100 million SUSDAI liquidity facility with Fluid, 300 APAC JV target with a path to 1 billion, 2026 year-to-date reports of $44.6 million protocol annualized revenue, and $13 billion borrower pipeline. So what's important about Chip is they're making partnerships with the people you're going to be in communication with big AI labs, with people that have the GPU and compute capacity that they want to be working with. And again, they're going to come on and give us a full breakdown here shortly. But let's read through this tremendous month posted by David from USDAI, who is on the team here. And let's just see if we can find anything interesting ourselves. USDAI June recap, $98 million loan, 100 million liquidity facility, APAC expansion. June expanded the market around USDAI on multiple fronts. Larger GPU-backed loans, deeper USDAI liquidity, new institutional support, and APAC organization. The protocol announced its largest loan to date, crossed 20 million in cumulative yield, launched 100 million SUSDI liquidity facility with Fluid, and formed a new APAC financing JV with BSQ Capital Partners. Okay, new financing joint venture. We just read the numbers. This is what's important. 2026 year-to-date report, 44.6 million protocol annualized revenue. 44.6 million annualized revenue. And of course, growing tremendously. I wish, or hopefully they post a chart on the growth there, because that was pretty impressive growth, multiples. Total TVL, 398 million, protocol AR, 44.6 million, 18 billion total trading volume. Wow. 7% USD AI yield, 394 new leases, 75,000 total depositors. Okay, those numbers look really good. $13 billion in borrow pipeline. All right, so these look really good. The numbers look really good. Now we have to kind of pair this with token, right? So we see the token chip here at lows, $44 million annualized. Growth has been pretty incredible. The question is what value flows back to the token? I guess the age-old question we're having a conversation about so often today. But again, assuming a lot of value flows back to the token, this could be a really interesting look, of course, in a very strong growth category and sector here. So let me pull up CHIP so I can get the market cap for you guys. All right. Remind you, $44.6 million annually. The growth looks really good. This is trading at a $71 million market cap, right? So not much above, annual rate on return, annual revenue run rate looks like, okay? 357 million FTV. Again, not too crazy either, considering the numbers they just reported. I don't know. You ask me based on the numbers, this chart looks pretty interesting. And I think come Thursday or Friday, we'll have a much better understanding once they come on the show of how this looks. Because I want to understand the growth potential here. How much can this grow? It's grown quarterly, monthly, I think very, very well. If their numbers are legitimate, if there's value flowing back, economics flowing back to the token, this is one you definitely want to be watching. Any comments on this, Chill?
No, I think that's I mean, the chart speaks for itself, bro. I mean, the chart is bottomed. I mean, we're at this point just overall in the cycle where you're going to see a lot of like things starting to come off the bottom. I mean, Hyperliquid was an early example of that late last year. And that's continued to run. But, some recent examples was XPL. Look, XPL was down only. Met was down only. Like, we're seeing a lot of these charts starting to sort of turn around, and they don't even need Bitcoin at a certain point to be fully up only, right? Like, so yeah, I think based on the fundamentals, looks like a good setup to me, both from a TA and a fundamental perspective.
Would you want to talk about XPL? I think you had some stuff you wanted to mention there. Maybe after that we can get to Stera, which HawkX requested, and then ICPX.
Okay, let me do this. Actually, it wasn't XPL. It was actually Zcash. I wanted to share something with you guys on Zcash. So remember, a little bit ago. Let me do this. Boom. So remember, a little bit ago, basically, I told you guys about this when we first opened up the MCG Discord. Actually, this was the first thing that I mentioned in our Perps channel. Was this Head and Shoulders here that played out? Jesus, my mouse game is crazy. But yeah, you guys see that, like the Head and Shoulders here that played out on Zcash. Now, the reason that played out was because someone, could have minted tokens or whatever. Well, it looks like we just got word literally on stream that's pretty much fixed. So let me show you guys. The news that came out.
It got fixed as soon as I think it got fixed relatively quickly after it got released. No.
Well, I guess it wasn't provable. Is what it is. It wasn't like verified, and that's what this is saying. Zcash's new Ironwood pool is being formally verified to rule out all undetectable counterfeiting bugs up to the underlying cryptographic assumptions. So that was the sort of like question that people had was, okay, they say it's potentially fixed, but there's no way to verify it because of all the privacy tech. And so now, through this new Ironwood pool, they're now able to formally verify it. So I say all of that to say, I'm looking for long setups on ZEC again. I'm bringing them back into the playbook. Obviously, when in crypto, it's very, maybe in markets overall, but in crypto, there's times where TA doesn't matter, bro. There's times where the market will FUD. The market will, provide some tailwind, whether it's a KOL or whatever. In this case here, with Zcash, I expected this Head and Shoulders to play out, and I expected us to kind of land right here on the chart, but we went all the way back to $250, coming down from $700 almost. But that's fueled by FUD. The entire timeline, Arthur Hayes included, all decided to dump their bags at the same time. So obviously TA only works to some extent. The social signals are very, very powerful. But now, as we're resyncing up with, basically where we were before, now TA will start to work out again, in my opinion. And so now I'm looking for us to resume this sort of like uptrend that we were on. And it looks like to start that resumption, that's the same breaker level in green that I have drawn out right here. That's actually starting to hold really well. So let's see exactly how this plays out. I think we do have a new range, and I probably have to set some new alerts because some of these alerts are older. But we now have this new range that's playing out here, and we're in the range high. So I'm not gonna long while the price is really expensive all the way up here. What I am gonna do though is I'm gonna zoom in and maybe look at like some of the lower time frames, and perhaps we get like maybe we get a pullback, or maybe even like a retest, or at some point we will form a higher low on the daily. That's really what I'm looking for. So I'm probably expecting us on Zcash to kind of go up, maybe tag this, and then come back down to then form a higher low before running again. So this is where I'd look to get involved right here. So we'll see. But just wanted to put that on you guys' radar there. As far as Zcash, that's the Zcash thesis is fully back based on that news. So we'll see exactly how things play out.
Nice. I'm not sure if you saw Pod recently, man, but Pod has been going
Pod is
absolutely
doing
dumb.
great.
Dolphin AI.
Pod is
I think
doing
recently
great.
we saw some private VCs say they were potentially investing into it or something.
Yes.
But yeah, that looks fantastic. We will have them come back on the show when they have their next iteration out. I already talked with the team there, so we'll get them back on. But this is looking fantastic. So if you guys have any more information, if you have any information on this that you want to share, please do.
Yeah, there was a oh man, I lost the tweet because I wanted to dig into the not only the VC that bid them, but like, all right, like the background of the VC themselves, like how much capital do they have under management and stuff like that. So I have the tweet here.
I got one
I can
pulled
let
up
you go
by
through the
Doc
metrics.
as well. Yeah. I'll look at
let's
this
get
real
to the
quick, and then
metrics
we'll hop on. We'll hop on what you got going on. With that being said, okay. Doc made this post. So here's a quick little update on Pod. Of course, cracking all-time highs day after day. It looks like Pod just printed 100 billion tokens in a single day. That number is the proof. Peer-to-pool and sharded decentralized inference verification are not white paper words anymore. They're running in production at Venice tier throughput on a live decentralized GPU pool. Prices that output at open router floor rates, single model Quen 3.5, 3.6, 35 billion. And it is 27 million a year, 100% routed to Pod buybacks. Wow. Before the basket.
Insane.
Before the API is even live. Now, prices against the market on revenue multiples. Now, again, it's tough to call this. It's tough to put the $27 million annualized number on this, because that is just accounting for this model right here, this Quen model, right? And so rates vary and all that stuff. But, take 27. I would maybe even put conservatively put it a lot lower than that. But again, 100% routed to the Pod buybacks is like the key here. Now, price this against the market's on revenue multiple. Hype is a 15 billion market cap doing 625 million in revenue. 24x VVV, 616 million on 60% revenue, 10x. Pod, 15 million market cap on 27 revenue, 0.5x, less than 1-to-1 price to earnings ratio. And again, this is very speculative, but the market pays $24 for $1 of Hyperliquid's revenue, 10 for $1 of Venice's, and 50 cents for $1 of Dolphin's. Same category, same near total buyback design as Hype, and Pod is priced at a fraction of both. It's a great tweet. Again, highly speculative, but the takeaway here is Pod's numbers are looking really good and growing. So with that said, Chill, you can throw up that tweet you have prepared.
Yeah, so looks like the fund size is about 1.65 billion.
And if you want to pull that up, you can.
Yeah, I actually I'll show you the Grok. I'll show you what Grok had to say real quick about the founder. So his name was Richard Galvin. Um After a 20-year career, he was ex, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, head of equity and derivatives. Looks like he has pioneered like some investments in AI, crypto, and the intersections of both. On funding size, public estimates put DACM's assets under management around 1.65 billion. So an estimate, but I mean that's insane. But here's the tweet. This is who Richard Galvin is. But here's the tweet. He says, "Have to confess to being pod maxis. In our view, it's the strongest prospective AI focused project in crypto, a proven incentive model looking to scale a network into existing multi-billion-dollar market that's compounding at triple-digit rates. Fuller thesis to come in the next few weeks." So it looks like this is just him kind of quote tweeting Doc, and Doc is a really good follow. Dude's can be a troll online, but he's an absolutely great follow.
He
Good
does
guy.
good fundamental analysis for sure.
Yes, he's always been that way. He's always been that way. So yeah, definitely a good follow. But basically, Richard Galvin, remember his background. His background is Goldman Sachs. He's had a lot of traditional investments and stuff like that, but he has been the main one on the TradFi side, pioneering crypto and AI investments and investments at the intersection of both. And so that's something to be aware of. I mean, at the end of the day, he said he has a fuller thesis to come out, so there's probably going to be a full write up, maybe by him or by the fund. But you have the head of a close to a multi-billion-dollar fund, basically bullish on a $20 million market cap coin. I mean, you do the math, and that's before he said a word. That's before he's written any full thesis and put it out there. So yeah, I think super bullish on pod.
Yeah, we've seen the inference capital markets just pick up completely all around, from surplus to Squire to pod. It's just one to watch. It's very difficult now to know which one's the best because there's so many popping up. So again, like I always just say, stick with the people who've been doing it for the longest. It's always like the easiest bet. And then track the numbers, right? Go on Open Router, go on wherever you can track them and see who's doing the most tokens per day, right? That's the best way. I mean, just usage based, right? Who's got the most adoption, product market fit, and kind of stick with those guys. So yeah, tough to say, but odds looking really great.
I think this is the thing too. So I'll jog you guys' memory, chat. Remember whether it was yesterday, it was last Friday, we talked about CPX. Remember that? Capix, that CPX token from EZA, they're building a marketplace that sits on top of all marketplaces, and they basically have a private. They call it the Capix OS. It's a private router. That's a routing layer that sits on top of all of these marketplaces that matches workload with the appropriate hardware. So whether it's a CPU for lighter or GPU for heavier workloads, or even quantum stacks for even heavier workloads, that router will match your workload with the most appropriate hardware and make it cheaper, faster, more efficient. But at the same time, it will also kind of save the developer the time of going through all these marketplaces themselves on the Web3 side to then choose one that's like, comparing prices and things of that. It's just more convenient, while also, having that cheaper, faster, more efficient sort of level. So I always bring that back when we talk about like compute capital markets, because I think what she's building is really insane. And there was also
let's do that. Let's do like a quick run through of all the inference capital market plays that we're watching, and Crypto Jones.
Yeah.
That'll be a good transition into ICPX, which is one you're watching, but like 0 was one we had on the show. Again, like pretty much bottom ticked that. It popped up to $10 million. I think they released their white paper on how the sharded inference to fix the latency issue is working in real time, and people seem to adapt to that. But this one's looking really good. You just mentioned CPX, right? And again, this one, CPX is probably one of the cheaper ones on this list, despite having a really great founder. I mean, 700K market cap or 1.2 million FTV. Again, I'm not sure which is accurate there, but
Can I show my chart on that as well?
sure. Maybe just run me through the whole list.
Yeah. Let me pull up the chart, because literally yesterday, what did I tell you guys? Yesterday we were at like 1.7K, or we're at like 1.7 or something like that. And I basically told you guys, hey, look, I'm gonna draw out another green box for you guys because we're likely headed right back at this, right back at these levels, and that's where I'm gonna buy. And I put some limits there, and here we are, 24 hours later, right where I told you guys we'd be. So it looks like a 2% holder ended up capitulating his bag. But basically, the latest that I've heard from the team was I kind of highlighted it in a tweet. They're expanding the team. They're in talks with the ACE guys for an ACE round, and they're talking to some potential B2B customers. So obviously, some holders capitulating for whatever reason. But obviously, from a business standpoint, this is all pretty much headed in a good direction. So if anything, good opportunity here.
Also, to clarify, someone messaged the MCG account saying there was a 2% wallet that sold and people think it's our wallet. Just to be clear, none of us, there was no MCG wallet that sold 2%. Maybe, I don't know how much Bill holds or
full
Josh
transparency.
Holds,
Full transparency. There's no MCG wallet trading anything. Like, we don't hold a wallet that apes into like projects and stuff like that. Obviously, each of us individually,
but none of us, even individually, none of us dump 2%.
Yeah, we
right
trade. Yeah, we
on the
trade
show.
and stuff. But yeah, none of us.
So,
That's ridiculous.
I don't know. I don't know what chat said that. Some random guy hit us up on the MCG account. But to clarify, that is obviously not the case.
Yeah,
So
that's not an MCG wallet. That's not related to any of the individual hosts or as well. So yeah,
I wish though,
obviously,
if someone wants to throw us 2%, hey man, we will gladly send you.
Yeah,
we'll start an MCG wallet for that.
and some airdrop us some tokens. We'll spin up a wallet and we'll have you guys all donate. We'll burn all the supply if anything.
Yeah, but so CPX looks good. What else from the inference side? We talked. What about P1
Squire.
or PO? PO. We have PO coming on too.
PO.
Squire.
Let's see. PO.
Do you know anything about this or not so much?
I don't. This is on bags. I literally have never paid attention to it. Wow. Shout out them for continuing to build. They launched back in March. Holy crap. And they're still around, huh? Let's look at the last couple. Let's look at the 2 hour.
Which is, I think it's actually a little bit bullish right now that's on bags because people are completely unwilling to bid bags tech. Rightfully so. The bags team has been terrible with capitalizing off the tech plays on their platform. But it might actually work as a benefit here because it's so overlooked. And if they're actually doing something cool, they're still building, you might get an opportunity here.
Crypto Jones says, might have been my wallet. I'm a big player like that. All right, guys. So you know who to hit up in the DMs. Then y'all can go to him.
Go get mad at Crypto Jones.
I saw this by Sloan Degen, by the way. Dom, you should remove the MCG top right logo. It hides the ticker on the chart. So Sloan, we were actually just talking about this morning because we were kind of like for that reason, but it messes with our layout. We have such a sick layout that we literally just designed, and it's rough.
We gotta talk about it because when you screen share like this, it looks good. When you're side by side like this, it looks good. When you do this layout, it looks good, right? When you do the 3-way, it looks good. It only is an issue when we're doing full screen like this in charting. We could do full screen like this in chart, and it's not an issue, but the screen's just smaller. So this is the one screen it's an issue on, and it's like, do we want to change the whole layout for this one screen? We could also make the screen smaller.
Maybe we
right?
edit. Maybe we just edit it and just like I'm pulling it down right now. Actually, I'll let you edit it. That looks a little chopped. I'll let you
No, it
edit.
looks terrible. It looks terrible.
Yeah, like if we yeah. So we gotta
I mean, we
figure
could do
something
this
out.
here. This is the because the thing is, it's sized. You can only really have one size with these, ratios or whatever. So we can do that. The thing is, we're gonna get a background that's moving. We're working on that, so maybe that'll make it look
Yeah,
better.
so
But
so maybe we keep it like this for now. Like we get a little bit of the background in there, but like at least they can see the chart. I mean, it doesn't look bad, right? Like
keep it like that for now. Yeah, I'll keep it like that for now. That looks fine. That looks fine. Yeah. I'll also
y'all
have to
should
change.
use the Easy A Day intro as your outro for the remainder of the month. Okay. The Easy A. Oh, yes,
Oh,
yes, yes. It was the little girl sneezing. That was
we can do that.
hilarious. Yeah, I'm down. We can slide that. But yeah. So we just changed the layouts there, Sloan. So now
That's
you
a
can
good
see the
shout.
tickers. Good shout. Yeah, good work. Good work. Good job, team. Good job. All right, so that's PO. Let's look at Squire. Let's look at Squire. I guess people are looking for compute capital markets
Oh
exposure,
my
huh?
gosh, absolutely. It's the
But
hot.
like,
It's the only on-chain narrative right now that's running like across the board.
yeah, that and meme coins. Um,
True.
so this is Squire. Squire looks, I mean, we've been kind of struggling to make it over this area. Um, but I mean, look, we've been making higher lows. This is where this is where I had the big thesis on stream, and I was like, I even posted about that. But we had the low there, we had the low there. So I mean, it's holding up. I think it's just just a matter of time. But if you notice, Dom, Squire almost 4.5 million, PO 2.3 million,
I noticed.
CPX 1.2 million. Like nothing is above 5 million market cap, really.
Yeah.
What
Actually,
other
the only
plays?
thing that got close to it was compute, and that went
Yeah,
to
compute.
you know I forget what it went to 18, 19
Like
million though.
not 8 to 10. Yeah,
Oh, was
10
it that
mil.
low? Okay.
Yeah, it just went to
Yeah.
10 mil.
It's hovering around that zone though.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, like I've been saying this. I need something to break the 10 mil ceiling. I need something
Surplus
to
is
break
also below. Surplus is like 4 or 5 mil as well, I believe.
surplus. I kind of put surplus in a different bucket because it's on base, and base seems to kind of have like, you know, you know, things have run on base very quietly, but things have run.
Yeah,
So
I
I
wouldn't
kind of
count
put
surplus
base
out.
in. Yeah, I think I'd put base in their own bucket for now because I think this can like likely go to 10 mil and above. It'll just take time. Base is just slower. The thing is with Solana, it's GDier.
You got to add pod to this too.
Oh yeah, pod.
But base is looking better right now for the inference capital markets. It's got slimmer pickings, but the
Yeah,
ones that are on base are doing well. And I will say they're really good projects too, both surplus and pod.
yeah. This
So
is technically the
I think
EZA eco.
CPS, yeah, I think
Uh-huh.
CPX is a really good opportunity. I mean, it's below 1 million. Founders got the pedigree. Again, largely has to be proven out, but that's the case for all the inference capital market plays right now. So even if this reprices from 1 to 3 to 4 to 5 mil and just kind of be on par with everything else, I think that's a catch-up trade in and of itself, kind of forgetting even about the fundamentals. And knowing they're exploring ace round, knowing they're exploring raises or whatever, fundraising, I think kind of, it gives a nice case for CPX.
Yeah, 100%.
So if I did have a
100%.
2% wall in CPX, I wouldn't be dumping it right now. Is the
That's
case.
that's exactly the point here, fellas. Again,
Here,
get mad at Crypto Jones.
I'll give a cheeky one. I'll give a cheeky one for you guys because Bags is having a bit of a run with P0. Primus is one that's doing the compute stuff.
I've
They were one
heard
of the
about that.
well, we've had them on the show. They were one of the early ones to doing compute capital market and making futures contracts for compute. And they had like 100 million annualized or 100,000 annualized return. They already had like customers that were using them. And this one's trading at like 600K here. I mean, I'll even move our heads out the way real quick so you guys can see it. This one's trading at 613K. So Bags getting some attention for like OG builders running on their platform. This is in the compute narrative. The compute narrative on Bags is running. Compute narrative in general is getting some traction. It's one to watch. I don't have a position in this is the thing, which is why I'm giving you ball knowledge here, because I kind of do want a position. And this is right around the zone I would start actually getting interested. So there's your ball knowledge. Little tidbit for the day. I do not have a position. You're probably going to front run me on it now, but this is one to watch for those two reasons. Inference Capital Markets having a day, and then Bags is starting to have a run for, tech projects that have been building in silence and people just hating Bags, so they're not investing into their ecosystem. But this one kind of aligns with all of that. So yeah, keep that in mind.
Yeah, this one is actually from a chart perspective, this actually looks like at a pretty decent level.
Remember Ansem shilled this back in the day, right? Or
Ah,
Ansem
that's why
Wallet
that's what got that candle.
Mhm.
3.5.
So again, we're talking catch-up trades. This one's at 615K versus the average of like 2 to 3 to 4 mil we're seeing on these inference projects that are legitimate. This has been building. This is on Bags. I don't know. I think it's a pretty interesting trade. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. What else we got? Any other
Someone
compute capital
mentioned
marketplace?
Yeah, Hawks mentioned STYRA, which
STYRA.
Styra
Why did I
XYZ.
see? Where did I see that at?
Yeah, we can do a quick little DD for you.
Ooh, okay. Let me
Looks
search
good.
this. Let me search this real quick. Let me see if I got anything on this.
And then ICPX is another one Crypto Jones has requested. We can
Oh
do
yeah,
after.
dude. Yeah, ICPX. We got it. I forgot to check that one yesterday. Let's see. Looking. Here we go. Do we got a thesis on this? Styra. Basically like Jim, but in first person. What? Looking.
And I'm not sure if you guys saw, but Rain Cards is a $2 billion valuation. Anthem retweeted that, which is why I'm seeing it. But that's crazy.
Rain Cards?
Rain Cards, yeah. Which is an alliance project. So
Here's
might
a
be a little
quick
soft shill for like a VG or something.
Oh, nice. Here's a thesis on Styra. I believe next generation of great products will come from small, hungry teams that move faster, closer to their users, and care more than big corporate structures ever can. Very happy to be working on Styra as product lead. I grew up trading Pokemon cards. Oh, so this is more TCG related. This isn't Compute Capital Markets.
Oh.
Okay, so I grew up playing trading cards, gambling, and later got pulled into CS skin sites. Styra feels like natural intersection of those worlds, collectors and degens, a category left behind. Big believer in slabs on chain. It removes so much friction around collecting and lets people enjoy a card for what it is at its real cost. That matters because the best collector products do not make transactions easier. They make the hobby more accessible, more liquid, and more fun. Building Ordinal Genesis into a 7-figure business. Reinforce how much I believe in bootstrapped, fast-moving teams. Okay, hold on. He built a 7-figure business. All right, let's quickly do Grok research mode on this. Let's get Grok involved, shall we? Let's see what's up. Because it looks like this is basically all right. Who's the founder? What's their background? How much have they raised or generated in revenue? What is Styra? bull case. Bam. All right. So while Grok does its thing, let's look at this here. He says he built a 7-figure business. So I'm assuming this is a game. You can now quick sell any card from Collector Crypt in the game. All USDC is put into the card buyback pool. Wow. Okay. They built Ordinal Genesis into a 7. That's what I'm trying to figure out, Hawks. Like, what is Ordinal Genesis? That's the part I'm still trying to like understand a little bit. So I'm trying to figure that out here. All right. So what I really like is like the gym route where, these cards now become in-game assets. I feel like before you had these teams that tried to do NFTs as in-game assets, and it just didn't really work out for them. But now, RWA's collectibles are now on chain through are building on top of cards a little bit, or at least building on top of their inventory anyway. And, in that sense, they're able to put these assets in game. I think that's a really, really powerful angle. I think, obviously this game is a little bit more simpler, to put it lightly, but like I'm waiting for a RuneScape style MMORPG that really, puts this front and center. But let's look at this real quick. So Onchain TCG platform focuses on real professionally graded physical cards as on-chain assets, prizes in a play-to-earn style game with gotcha, catching, battling, and staking mechanisms. Okay, so you can PvP. You can buy Pokeballs with the USDC and throw them to catch the graded cards. That's actually crazy. That's actually pretty sick. Slab staking, list your cards as in-game gotcha for others to roll on, earn a large share of the styra fees paid by rollers. Okay, so this is pretty good gamified.
What do users and volume look like? I think is what it comes down to. Of course, this stuff takes time, but
yeah. Real quick, let's type that in. What are the user metrics? Let's talk about that. Let's let Grok think about that while we talk about the founder himself. So like you guys said, Ordinal Genesis is a Bitcoin Ordinals launchpad and infrastructure project focused on on-chain launches. The founder scaled it into a 7-figure revenue business. Okay. Let's see here. Recent data points around, see. It appears to be an early stage launch, yada, 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 not public. Styra fees are okay. All right, so let's skip the bull case. Let's just go straight to, Styra stands out as thoughtfully designed on-chain TCG with real asset backing, Discord activity and metrics or sustained growth. Wait, we skipped the metrics. Where is that? Where is that?
Just ask again.
I didn't scroll down far enough. Okay, so they got the holders tokenomics game volume. Vault holds 75 graded cards, P2P, 78 entrants, no official daily active user count, active Discord community. So yeah, still small, still early stage, 78. I would look at it. Does it look sus? Again, the game looks, it's older style game, right? Like I'm waiting on that RuneScape style MMORPG sort of interface. This is like early stages. I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's kind of rough. This I would put on my watch list. And I would monitor for when does the game blow up? When does the game like looks vibe coded with haste more than anything? Yeah, like I'm not sure if I like the gameplay. I kind of hope and wish that it like evolves to be a little bit better than this. But I do like the mechanism, like the underlying mechanism as far as like, getting the cards, being able to interact with these cards in game and stuff like that. I really like that, but I need to see more. I need to see higher metrics, and I need to see like a better, more enjoyable game. Like play to earn has been around for like how long, and it has never sustained because these games aren't actually playable. They're not like fun. So I'm looking for an actually fun game. So
Can I talk about a game that I was watching pre-launch that has launched and gone to like 1.4 million market cap, and I'm like kicking myself about it?
Hit it.
So this guy right here, B-Boy Mode, or Mode is what he goes by. I actually so I had him on one of my lists. I don't know when or why, but he had hinted at launching a token at one point. So what I do is when someone hints at a token, I go over here, add a remove, and I used to have like a CA watch list. Yeah, see, I have a CA watch list, which I had him on. So I had him on the CA watch list, and he was basically going through his development of this game he was building called R. And this was during the time where GameFi was doing really well. So I'm like, I definitely need to be watching this because this game actually looks pretty cool. And, he's an Alliance DAO alumni. He had worked on some stuff in the past, also done gamified stuff in the past. He had a token in the past, which seems to have not worked out, but he mentioned there would be like an airdrop for holders. So he basically hinted at there was going to be a token for this game. So I was watching this closely. I guess it was offline when this launched because I completely missed it. But without any surprise, this thing went dummy. So let me pull up the chart here. This thing went to 1.7 million. Now, when it launched, I guess it looks like it launched and went straight up. Yeah. So it actually looked kind of bundled off the launch. I'm not going to lie. Let me go to 1 minute. And it probably is pretty bundled, to be honest. I'm not entirely sure how much team hold or what that looks like. Yeah. So this launches definitely looks, the first couple of minutes aren't straight up actually, but looks like it was bundled up to 100K at the very least. So nonetheless, but the chart is trading really, really good. 1.1 million market cap. I think they have, let's see, what was the number? 8,000 weekly users. They've reached 8,000 active weekly users, and the game looks pretty fun. So I'm going to actually show you through it here. I tried to get them on the show, and I don't want to leak our DMs, but it was very, very brief. I messaged him before the token launched and basically asked him how this new token is going to correlate with the old token. And then recently I asked him to come on the show. He said he's too busy. So we won't be getting him on the show, which I will say is always sus, when a founder won't come on the show. But the game looks really cool. So let's scroll back here. Art of Fun is the world's first agentic crowd-coded game on Pump Fun. This is what I thought was really interesting. So basically, you could play the game and iterate on it yourself because it's crowd-coded. Players vote on bugs, features, and improvements. The highest voted ticket gets assigned to coding agent Fable. We invited around 3 contributors yesterday. Since then, 70 plus bug fixes and features have already been shipped. This is not a roadmap. It's already happening. So you can see here. So it's actually like not only a game, but like a community effort where it's like a DAO for creating things, right? So DAOs vote on things. It gets submitted to Fable. Fable builds it, fixes it, or whatever. But you can see, so you click down there, HQ. I'm going to speed this up. You can see the tickets right now. You can see everything there. And people can basically contribute to make this game better, which I thought was pretty cool. Good community effort here. And they've had a lot of contributions. Jeff just put out this tweet. Jeff's a great follow. If you guys don't already follow him here, I'll follow him here. This is what I find myself doing. I don't follow people, but I'll have them added to a list, right? So if I go to my lists, Jeff is down here in Gem Enthusiasts. So I'm always watching his stuff. I should have followed him before. Shame. He made this post though, the ARR economic model. And like, by the way, I am kicking myself for missing this, by the way, because this was such a free trade. And this is what you should do. If you know someone's like building something cool and is potentially in the cryptoverse and could launch a token, just add them to a list. So at least you can do, add them to a list. And if I was on my computer at this time when Mo launched a token, I would have been in at 100K and I would have cooked on this like 10x. So the ARR economic, I'm not in it, by the way. Economic model has been released and the token has reached a 1.35 million market cap. There are 3 key points to note. When purchasing Ruby, 80% of ARR is burned, directly reducing the circulating supply. Okay, so there's some network effects. The remaining 20% goes into a treasury to be used for burying new treasures, forming a positive cycle that helps with long-term price stability. So again, this is like the whole theme here is pirates. And so it looks like 20% of the treasury goes into burying treasures around the world, which help people play the game more, of course, in search for these treasures, which I think is pretty cool. By defeating the leaderboards to get hints and distributing treasure rewards based on contributions, combined with the gold earnings and upgrade system, encourages continuous gameplay, teaming, and social interaction, improving user attention and activity. This helps incentivize players to engage deeply and compete. In-game activities such as looting, fishing, etc., generate gold and demand, while treasures drive more consumption and competition, achieving a closed loop of play to earn and token utility. This reduces reliance on pure speculation and creates a self-sustaining economic flywheel. However, I think the economic model may be further refined in the future. Additionally, weekly active users have reached 8,000, and the user feedback platform has also been updated. I think this model is very good. Any player can suggest features in game. A crypto game must first have a game before it can have crypto. So I thought that was really cool. Game looks pretty cool. You can see weekly active users reach 8,000 here. So I just want to scroll through and get more of an idea. The tokenomics are right here. You can read up on their Twitter. I think it was just explained pretty well. Again, like the branding looks pretty sick here. Branding looks pretty sick. So I would love to get him on the show to talk. And again, Mo, this is an open invite. If you want to come on and chat about this, we had a GameFi day where we covered all the top GameFi projects. Basically when I first started getting hot. So would love to have you on if you get some time. But yeah, game looks pretty good. Graphics look pretty good. I want to see a video of people playing in game to see what it looks like actually in game. But like, again, cool kind of general concept here. On-chain treasure burial is in the works, but I don't want to keep everyone waiting too long. As a fun experiment, I'm going to start a ticket of build. Yeah. So concept here is like a pirate game. You search for treasures. 20% of the treasury goes to treasures around the world. So people, have a meaningful reason to play. Looks like this is what the game looks like. They have a voice chat feature. You can battle people. Yeah. So I mean, it seems pretty cool. I think I like it. Gamification for crypto gaming is finally coming together. Again, seems like it's very early stages. The game could use some work, but I also like the collaborative nature of like suggesting bugs fixed, them being voted on, and then everyone kind of being able to contribute to make the game really work well. So super cool stuff there. But yeah, I would keep eyes on it. It's on Solana 1.35. I'll pull up the chart again. Chart looks pretty solid. Let me check the bubble maps here because it did look bundled. It did look bundled. I'll say that. Yeah, so there's definitely some clusters here. I would need to see how much the team holds and get into it, but like general thoughts, I'd say generally it looks pretty good. The only things I don't like is the fact that the devs had a token in the past. Need to see how that kind of ties into it. What he did in the past venture, all that stuff. Bundling, how much does the team hold, etc. Outside of that, I think I'm pretty much clear. So yeah, that looks solid. But yeah, there were some other tokens mentioned in the chat. I kind of like Chip. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, I really like it. I think if they come on, I have not invested. Excuse me. I've not invested, but if they come on and they do a really good job, I think breaking everything down, there's a good chance I build a position in this. It just feels like a clear growth play. They're growing very well, and the token is pretty much even with their price to earnings right now, or at least annualized price to earnings revenue. Great shout here, Ave. Yeah, MetaDAO founder conference on Friday could be see some news from teams. Yeah. Yes. I would say tune into this. I mean, we know that Lasso is going to announce the treasury inflows. I know for a fact there will be announcements. Definitely worth tuning in. There will be teams breaking news here. So that's on Friday. Okay. Going to take a note of that actually.
Bang, bang.
Yeah, taking a note of that. So definitely be on that call. Chill. Anything else? There's this PYTO, which just launched on EZA. If you want to review that. Oh, it looks like the team sent this. Did we do that yesterday?
Oh wait. No, that was another. Let's wait. Let's wait. Let me we'll DD it in the Discord.
Okay, maybe tomorrow we'll come on and break down. Yeah, very
no,
very low market cap to be talking
very
about right
low,
now.
very low market cap. Last thing I wanted to talk about, guys, was two things. One on Pumpcade, and then another on a thesis of mine. Well, a thesis that I got from someone else, but here's the tweet. It's from a guy named Neroff. Really good follow. Really good follow. Here's the tweet. Really good follow, OX Neroff. But he says, my current thesis, the next biggest apps will simplify or reinvent the user experience. Hyperliquid front ends, social apps on top of Polymarket, and games around on-chain collectibles. So when we review stuff like the game that we just reviewed today, like I'm interested in that sector. Like just so you guys know how I'm looking at this market, that's why I'm bullish on stuff like Clash. I can't wait to have their interview tomorrow. That's a front end to not Hyperliquid, but 13 other perp dexes, and they're partnered with Lighter. But I'm assuming Hyperliquid comes at some point. And so gamifying that front end, I think that would be a powerful, that would be something powerful that would likely drive volume. They've already burnt 20% of their supply. Games around on-chain collectibles, stuff like Gym that we've mentioned before, I think that's a really cool concept. Again, NFTs in game was like a huge thing back in 2021 when the gaming industry, when the play to earn industry first popped up. But now, now that we've brought real collectibles on chain, we can put them in a game. And so I think, TCG games, it'll start there, but who knows where it goes. Maybe it goes to freaking Hot Wheels or One Piece for all we know. But I'm looking out for a game that really, again, like wraps up this user experience in a really clean way. And then social apps built on top of Polymarket. Honestly, like I would even say just social apps with trading in general, like a FOMO, for example. I think that's going to be really powerful. Obviously, no token there, at least for now. But yeah, I think that would really be nice. But this is a really powerful thesis that I'll be looking out for because it's all about apps. We've built a lot of the groundwork. We've built a lot of the infrastructure, like MetaDAO, the ownership token to equity models with ACE and a few others. We've built the foundations for something real to be built and something investable to be built. Now it's just a matter of, we've already empowered the builders through good plumbing. We got the liquidity. We have the ability to build. We have the distribution mechanism, the bootstrapping mechanism with tokens. Now it's just go build something great. And I think something great will come out of, one of these or perhaps all of these sectors. So
I think this is a great thesis. Front ends are like massive revenue generators. I mean, look at Magic Eden right now. I think Magic Eden is making like $4 million a month or a quarter because they're a front end for collector crypt. Like these front ends are really powerful. I think that's like really low hanging fruit for a lot of platforms right now that have really good distribution. If there's someone that's got a product, got a API you can just plug in and build a really nice front end for, and it's like within the vertical you're operating in, it's kind of just like low hanging fruit to, capitalize on your distribution. So yeah, I would agree. Front ends are very important. Good thesis here.
Yeah, excited to see what comes out of that. That was the first thing I wanted to talk to you guys about. The second was scrolling. Oh, by the way, I don't know if y'all see BNB. They've been going crazy this past week. With I believe it's TCZ. Whether it's crime or what, bro, I have no idea, but they're definitely like, the Chinese cabal is running it up over there. Pumpcade was mentioned in a Blockworks article. If you guys remember, Blockworks acquired Masari, and they actually mentioned, if you look at Pop Punk's tweet here, he says the article mentions 3 prediction markets: Polymarket, Kalshi, and Pumpcade. And to think the Cade Cup is really just our first test. So much to come. So just a kind of a shout. We've had them on quite a bit. We've talked about, their new COO as well. We've had that conversation last week, but I think this is big. This is recognition. Like Blockworks, they're not just like involved in like, you know, the trenches, like any old, you know, they don't just go in and just pick some random protocol and to write about. They've actually done the work on it. And it's good to see them get that recognition. And I think that's good distribution for them. And I think that could lead to, you know, even more catalyst. So bullish on Pumpcade. Very, very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, I think even to add to this, like
Mhm.
forget just kind of the people talking about Pumpcade. The user metrics are really good. I mean, you got to take everything with a grain of salt because giving people 20K and play money to earn $75,000 over the tournament is going to garner a lot of attention. So there's a lot of people I see kind of pooling numbers saying, even if they get 5% of this volume, here's what their numbers and annualized revenue will look like. Very tough to say what it'll look like, but they've had meaningful people show up for this product, which means when they go live, not on testnet, on mainnet, clearly they have the distribution, they have the reach, they have the ability to get users as long as they deliver a good product. So they're in the right place. I would say pretty bullish Pumpcade. Keep watching the numbers, more so when they go live on mainnet. But yeah, just to reinforce that thesis, chill.
Yeah.
Also,
100%.
next game is in 30 minutes for the Pumpcade Cup. If you guys haven't signed up for the Pumpcade Cup, the MCG ref link is on like all of our Pumpcade posts. Go ahead, sign up.
Is that a link in bio too? No.
Is the link in our bio? Even better.
I believe. If not, if you guys are in the Discord, I'll have Dom put the link in the links portion of our Discord channel. So that way you guys can also get it from there. So link in bio or link in our Discord.
Yeah, not in bio yet, but nonetheless, guys, it's not hard to find. Definitely go and sign up.
Yeah.
I don't even know what like this ref does for us. Honestly, it's just kind of it's nice to have.
Yeah.
So
there's that.
I've been playing. I played for all the games yesterday. USA, by the way, I must say, just like how the heck did you guys manage? Not you guys, but like I had friends, real soccer guys that watched this shit, psyop me into believing the United States had like some sort of standing chance of competing for the World Cup.
No, bro, they definitely did not, bro. Come on, bro. These guys are.
No, I believed it, bro. They were like, dude, this guy you have from England, he's cracked, our top scorer. Of course, Donald Trump makes the call, gets this guy who had the red card last game, gets him to play again. They revert that. And so now he's playing, and we just get wiped 1-4. And I felt good. They scored the first goal. I'm like, damn. We score. We follow up. Okay, we're back in this. Within a minute after that, they score again. Okay, and then there's a third goal, which is stupid. I mean, like, the goalie made some terrible play. He went out of goal. The guy kicks it. We had the most unathletic play for one of our defensemen. Just didn't even turn to kick the ball. They scored a layup goal. They scored a fourth goal after that with like 5 minutes left. Terrible game. I'm embarrassed. I thought we had a running shot at it. I got psyoped, and I'm mad at the soccer fans for psyoping me into it. Whatever. We'll forget about soccer for the next 4 years until it comes back again. And
idiotic, bro. These guys, man, idiotic, bro. But
yeah, I did good on Pumpcade though. Tell you that much.
Nice.
Yeah.
So there was that. The other thing. Whoa.
Well, normally it's me.
Whoa.
Hey, happens to the best of us. Let's all have a water, guys.
Yeah, let's have a water. I think that's it. I think that's all. I think that's it for me.
There.
Yeah. I have, bro. Yes, he is, bro. That goalie. I don't know. He made a great decision to run out. To run out and like get the ball out early. The thing is, he controlled it. Why do you control the ball out of the box? Like, dude, kick it away.
Kick too. Did he do that? Did he hesitate? Like, I don't know what was going on.
It looked for a second like he hesitated, but then like on the replay, it looked like it was a miss kick. But hey, bro, like our goalie is garbage, and even without that, like literally our defense, there was at one point the ball was in the box, and like there's 4 American players around it, and it's like they're all just kind of like staring at the ball, and literally the other team just came in and kicked it into the goal. And scored a goal. So
I'm saying, bro's never kicked a ball in his life, dude, is what it looked like.
Like a toddler.
You never had a chance. I don't know soccer, bro. I really don't know soccer, but I had like real guys who love soccer, watch the sport, who are like, no, you guys have some dogs. Like your scores are really good.
Nah,
the
man.
team looks really good. I was like, okay, Okay, yeah. I mean, even if we didn't have a running chance, like I at least wanted to see us do something, but that was, I mean, embarrassing. It was
Yeah.
embarrassing. I'm glad I didn't stick my neck out on the line more for the USA because I was going to. I saw people on Twitter talking about USA is going to get blown out. I'm like, you know what? No, they're not. Let me start tweet. I was about to start tweeting, rattling tweets off about how USA was just going to dog whoever we played, bro. And I'm glad I didn't. Now I'll tell you that much. I got like 2 more things I want to cover real quick before we pop off. It's Virtuals and then the Pump Fund tweet. Virtuals is doing stuff on Robinhood by the looks of it. And Chill, again, you're like more of the Robinhood guy than myself. But the first yield agent on Robinhood chain is now live on Virtuals protocol. So I'm not sure if the yield agent you can now use on Virtuals, and Virtuals is like the front end, or if the first yield agent launched via Virtuals on the Robinhood chain. But we can figure, I'm sure we'll figure out in a second here. Go Mintly rebalances your ETH and USDC across audited Origin protocol strategies around the clock, always hunting the best rate. Funds sit in a contract only you own and can only ever move to your wallet. Okay, so Go Mintly is live on Robinhood app chain. So I think this is live on Robinhood and they launched via Virtuals. And so it'll be interesting to see if Virtuals is a core launchpad for Robinhood. Like, it'll be interesting to see that. So I'm going to watch this video. And here's what Mintly tweeted. The first yield agent on Robinhood app chain is live. And we haven't seen any utility yet on the Robinhood chain, right? It's all been just memes. The first yield agent on Robinhood chain is live. Mintly automates ETH USDC yield across Origin's protocol. Battle-tested vaults. No homework, non-custodial, launched with Virtuals. Okay, there's my answer. So yeah, let's see. I think I saw their CA in their thing. Let's see what this is trading at. And then we'll watch the video first. Why not? I'm not sure if you guys can hear that, but
yeah.
Your ETH is just sitting there. 420 ETH. Your intelligent Ethereum companion. Okay, I got 420 ETH. I'm depositing this into Mintly.
Good old 12%.
Turn that down a little bit. Start earning. Look at that. Okay, well, we talk about front ends. I think this is literally a front end. It's just an agent that uses Origin protocol to deposit into their vaults and strategies. So, pretty basic. Maybe their front end's really, really great. But let me see how this is trading. I'm just curious more. So this is not me saying go and trade it. Okay, yeah. Very low liquidity, but not bad. Not a bad launch. I mean, wow. Shot up really in that first minute. Now it's kind of settling down. The question is, do we reset and go higher? Again, first kind of utility project that I've seen on Robinhood. Not sold on how great of a product it is, but it is on Robinhood. It is like a front end for Origin. It seems like the agent kind of automates putting you in those trades. Trading at 600K. Not bad. 83K in liquidity pool. I mean, Chill, you're the Robinhood guy. Any takeaways from this?
I'm only bidding memes on Robinhood right now. I'm not even going to lie to you. Maybe this is a generational fade because it's launched, in conjunction. Maybe it's a sorry, I'm reading Top Fumbler's message at the same time. But yeah, maybe it's a generational fumble because they launch with Virtuals and, maybe this, goes off to run. But right now, I'm only bidding memes. Like the thesis with Robinhood is it hasn't formed an identity yet. We don't know what type of chain it will be. I mean, we know that Base is utility. We know that Solana was memes for a while. Now that's starting to change, at least for Solana. Like, tech AI coins are there. The volume is there. The investable projects are there. They're on Base as well. But we haven't seen what shape the Robinhood chain will take. Like, we don't know if it's going to sustain volume. Like right now, I'm just following the volume. Volume's on memes. I'm staying away from the bundled meme coins. I'm really trying to stay in things that have been around for a long time. I'm fully out of Cash Cat. I probably shouldn't have been fully out of Cash Cat. But
Crazy trade.
that
You were the
that
first person I saw talking about that, by the way.
literally sub 100K guys to like 8 mil. So I was a freaking cooker for the boy. We were waiting for 2 weeks. We were waiting on Robinhood. But yeah, regardless, yeah, I'm just bidding meme coins right now. And when you think about it this way, the people that make money, that are making money on Robinhood, they're making money on meme coins. So what will these people buy to make more money? Meme coins. They're not going to buy utility, at least not the majority of them. And hey, look, if Mintly proves me wrong and they end up running to millions, I'm not going to cope, because that's going to invite more builders to come and build on Robinhood chain, and then that's going to create more opportunities for us. So I'm cool missing the first runner. I'm waiting for that confirmation. I'm not going to go ahead of the pack here.
If MLT is doing well towards the end of the week and they're starting to like leg up, I will reach out to the virtuals team and get them on the show for next week. But again, actually our next week is already pretty booked out. But yeah, so come like Thursday, Friday, if this is looking really good, I'll probably try to get them on the show. So there it is.
Yeah.
MicroStrategy sold the bottom. Yes, they did. They still got a lot left, but yeah, they did, which is bullish. Which is bullish, honestly.
Why is that bullish? Why is MicroStrategy selling bullish?
The looming overhang of them just buying up. I think they have 4% of Bitcoin supply right now. So the looming overhang of like when they decide to dump and kind of the Bitcoin market, free market being at their will, I think a lot of people were scared about. Yeah, I think I'm actually indifferent if they keep buying, if they sell. I don't think one entity should have more than 4% of Bitcoin, for the state of the free market, but it's a free market. So, but I think them selling is basically, let's get this out of the way now. So we're not in a rip roaring bull run and we get an FTX situation where there's a ton of money that just gets offloaded onto, the market. Now, FTX wasn't during a rip roaring bull run, of course, but of course, like, we don't want 4% of Bitcoin supply getting dumped for whatever reason at the peak of the market because they're forced to or whatever, because Michael Saylor has to unwind strategy. So I think the fact that we have this overhang getting unloaded here while we're already at kind of bad levels is what people are happy to see. So I think it's bullish. But generally don't care.
Yeah. Sounds good. Yo, chill. Thoughts on making sub channels, Robinhood, ETH Base, Sol. So here's the thing.
Discord gets convoluted quick.
Yeah, I don't want to make too many channels because then it just like stuff becomes like too dispersed. I am going to make a conviction channel, and so all right. So here's what I'm thinking. If you guys are in the Discord, you saw that I put out an announcement to basically like, yo, should we cap this at 400 members? Right. We're at 376 members. Here's the plan. If we do cap it at 400 members, what I'm going to do is still allow people to join the Discord, but give them limited access. So everyone in the Discord right now would essentially like get like a role that gives them access to whatever they're getting access to right now. And then these new people that come in, they'll only get access to certain channels. One of them being the general chat. The general chat, MCG clips, the stream notes, topic requests, maybe not topic requests, but like just some of the general stuff and maybe even feedback. And basically I'm going to like put a bot that rewards people for their time in the server, their activity in the server, like liking posts, liking, interacting with different things inside the server. And then once that experience is built out, it'll get to the point where they can level up, and they'll level up to be an MCG OG. And that role will give them access to trenching, perps, some of the trader channels and all the other stuff. But like starting out, like I think only 400 people will have access to that. And then we'll just open up the Discord to everyone else. And then, but like we'll still limit their access to some of the other channels. And we'll just do it like that because, at the end of the day, I still want to grow the Discord, but I still want to keep the the flow of information in there super clean. So maybe not making an like a specific channels, but I'll keep the trenching channel for like new pairs, and then I'll make a conviction channel for like to discuss like more serious projects. And like that way, you know, we can kind of like split it up a little bit there. How does that sound?
Sounds like a plan to me, Chill. Sounds like a plan to me. Last thing I got for y'all, and we can do kind of wrap up here. We got a great show tomorrow, so you guys definitely want to be locked in for that. But Pump Fun's making moves. We've talked. I think we literally bottom tick Pump Fun. Literally the lowest candle you could have gotten on Pump Fun. We bottom tick. I think I broke down my thesis there on annualized revenue, and when the markets come back, volume will directly flow to Pump Fun. With that said, Sapajiju made this post, the Pump newsletter #1. So I think Pump is trying to make this push toward transparency, what they're focused on, what they're interested in. So I will, you know what, I'm going to pop this down here in this corner, and I'm going to read through some of this tweet so we have a better idea. I'm the CEO of Baton Corporation, which is the DevCo that develops and maintains Pump Fun. Going forward, I'll be posting updates covering everything that is happening at Pump Fun, the Launchpad ecosystem, mobile app, terminal, Go, coin communities, as well as the internal product achievements. The goal is to improve visibility and give more spotlight to the parts of the organization that often get overlooked. Revenue and Pump updates. Protocol fees from the bonding curve, Pump Swap and Terminal total to $7.2 million for the week of June 29th to July 5th. 50% of net fees were burned. Over the past 7 days, 33.7 million Pump tokens have been bought back and burned. In total, 41.80% of total circulating supply has been bought back and burned. Wild. I mean, the rate that Pump Fun is buying back and burning is second to none. 41% of total circulating supply has been bought back and burned. Insane. Launchpad and Pump Swap. The Pump Fund bonding curve and Pump Swap AMM continues to generate good volume despite market conditions. Bonding curve volume 553 million. Pump Swap volume 1.65 billion. The tokenized agentic launch option was removed based on community feedback. That was growing number of launch options to needless PvP. Existing token agents coins continue to function as normal. The Pump Fund ecosystem. Ansem has returned to Pump Fund, publicly claiming support for the Black Bull and created a doxed Pump Fund account. The coin generated 112 million in volume this past week and 183 million since launching June 16th, making it the biggest coin launch on Pump Fund in the last 3 months, 4.5x the last largest launched. It peaked above 430 million market cap within 3 weeks of launch. This led to a renewed activity across the ecosystem, along many inactive users being reactivated. The Pump Fund app. New swaps received went live. Transaction speeds improved from 1 to 2 seconds to 300 to 400 milliseconds. New low KYC on-ramp went live June 22nd. Platform on-ramp transactions are up 21% per day since launch, with 3,500 completed transactions from 1,300 unique wallets through the new flow in the first 10 days. Not going to talk about Terminal. Not going to talk about Go. Actually, I am going to talk about Go because it's new and I'm not entirely sure what it is. The recent Go launch video became the most viewed Pump post ever, with 18 million plus views on X since launch. 3,000 bounties created, 18,000 submissions, and over 600K paid out to submitters, with rewards ranging from $10,000 to $70,000. 6 of 10 bounties are linked to coins. Again, this is like adding value to meme coins. Do this task, will reward you in coins. Bounty link coins outperform massively at 32% graduation rate, blah, blah, blah. Nonetheless, I just wanted to cover that because it looks like Pump is making a bit of a gear shift towards transparency now that the markets are coming back a little bit, that Ansem's really making this push. Just something worth noting. Keep eyes on it. I think he'll probably have good updates. He's a low followed account, right? He's only got 13,000 followers. So I think a lot of people are just going to miss this. It did get 590,000 impressions, but it's worth keeping eyes on. So
I will say this. Yes, that's exactly what I was just about to say, Top Fumbler. Like all this is happening just before the unlocks, which is like kind of crazy. Like you literally disappear and only come back before then. I mean, you know, it's tough sometimes. Like it's like sometimes I feel like they're going in the right direction with like the ace rounds and stuff like that, but then it's like other times it's like, what's really going on? But
I do
at any
feel
rate,
that the looming airdrop is more of a concern. I feel like the looming airdrop is more of a concern than the actual airdrop. Like once the airdrop happens, I think that'll either put in the bottom or the bottom's already in, and like the looming concerns are going to be mitigated as soon as the unlocks happen. And there's like either it's bought up, right? Bullish unlocks is what you call them, right? Where this is like not a new thesis here. You have unlocks that are on the horizon. You have these looming unlock fears. And what happens is when the unlocks actually happen, you get the dip, it gets instantly bought up and people look at it as a bullish unlock because that looming fear is no longer there. You can kind of have clear sailing ahead. And that's kind of what I'm looking at for pump fun here. So whether it causes a dip and it's a bullish unlock or bottoms in and these looming fears have caused us to like not reprice, I think that's generally where I'm standing for pump. So I hear you. I do hear you. It looks like bull posting into an unlock, but that's how I see it. Joel, do you want to talk us through the weekly schedule and what we got going on for the remaining days?
Yeah. All right, let's do this. Let's do this, boys. All right, so here is the weekly schedule. I'm actually real quick just gonna move this over here. Bang. Actually,
You want us to move our
cancel
faces?
it. Yeah. I was about to do it, but I'm literally about to just like mess it up. So, all right. So here's our weekly schedule today. Fantastic interviews with the guys from Claw Pump. We had Bio LLM and then the guys from Lasso on. Really enjoyed both of their conversations. I mean, high level take. Actually, real quick. Before we do that, go to the MCG account real quick. Let's just do we didn't do our housekeeping. So we're just going to do that real briefly. We're just going to go to the @MCG Live. Go to @MCG Live. Make sure you're following the account. Appreciate y'all for 11.9K followers. Do not unfollow. Make sure you are following the account.
That'll be 12K by end of day. Let's go.
Yeah, 12K by the end of today. So get 12 of your homies, have them follow the account. Scroll down to the pinned tweet. And then I want you to do two things. I want you to hit like, and I want you to hit RT on the stream. Make sure you do that. Hit like and RT on the stream. It's a late stream. We're closing out. We're rolling it down, but it's fine. They can always rewind. So now let's go ahead and take a look at the schedule for the rest of the week, and then we can go from there. So while Dom pulls up the schedule, basically, today we had on Claw Pump on the stream. You can also go to highlights, by the way, if you need to.
Yeah, that's where I was. I just didn't know if it's still under that tab.
Oh, got you.
Idiot.
All right, so here we are. We got Claw Pump on today. It was a great stream. We had on Bio LLM. That was a great interview. Early stage, so probably going to just put it on a watch list for now. Lasso, very cracked founder, very nice resume that he has. So, previous businesses and, very nice resume. So that was a new MetaDAO project. Tomorrow, we have JTVO on. I know a lot of you guys are super bullish on JTVO. So that'll be that tomorrow. Number one, we have BV7X. And then we have Clash, a personal favorite of mine. I really like Clash and what they're doing. We just talked about the front end, the front end thesis, where applications that create a front end that like demystifies some of this stuff, whether it's that gamifies, I should say, the experience for some of this underlying technology, whether it's perps, TCG, or something else. So really interested in that conversation tomorrow. We have Upshot and Chip on Thursday. Dom talked to you guys about the chip thesis for USDAI. And then Friday,
well, actually,
we have Start Out Fun.
Thursday, I am looking at the schedule. We got PO on Thursday at 2 p.m. as well. It's P0, right?
Nice,
so this is the one we talked about today as well. So Thursday will be a banger.
So we got some bangers. We got some bangers lined up for you guys. It's going to be an exciting week. Next week's schedule as well is already pretty stacked. So can't wait to unveil that to you guys later on this week. So you want to follow the @MCG Live account. Keep up with all of our content. We're here Monday through Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern time. We have a stack show today. We had a stack show today. We will have a stack show tomorrow. Link in bio for our Discord. You want to go ahead and jump in there if you want to get trade with us in the community. Where I'm in there 24/7. Crypto Jones can tell you that. He'll vouch for me. But we appreciate you guys. We love you guys. I'll see you on the timeline, or I'll see you in the Discord. Deuces, y'all.
Deuces.